Ready? Play.
Welcome everyone. Let's start the press conference. Please, questions in English.
Jannik, thank you. Congratulations. This afternoon, did you play the match of your life? And what did it feel like playing that match?
Match of my life, I don't know, but it's for sure very, very important. As I say, it helps a lot the last competition that is a team competition, and because you get a lot of energy from your teammates, from the whole team, and then the crowd is different. And I really enjoyed playing today. It was a great match. I started off really well, and obviously in the second set he raised his level, and the third set I just tried to hold my service games and waiting for a good opportunity, which arrived on 5-all, and I took it. And obviously it was a very crucial match for the whole team, and at the end of the match I was really happy for the team to be at least able to play a deciding doubles, and we played really good, and I think it was a really positive day today.
Jannik, I just wanted to ask you about the 3 match points that you saved at 4-5 in the third set in the singles. Can you just talk us through what was going through your head? How did you remain calm in those moments, and what were you trying to do in each of those points?
I know that it was a really important, obviously, important game. We changed not for so long for new balls, so I knew if I'm gonna serve well that maybe I have some free points. But I had to stay in the present moment. It was love 40, and he missed a quite easy backhand, which gave me a little bit of confidence and belief. And then after I served twice, really good. And nothing, after this kind of games, your energy level and then mental level, it's racing, and I think this helped me today.
Jannik, over here. I'm not sure anyone else can maybe say they've beaten Novak Djokovic twice in one afternoon. What does that achievement mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Obviously, before the match, we were talking that it was a really important test today. Trying to understand what to expect before the match, and then I think we made a good tactical moment also before the match, and obviously playing it is a little bit different, but I think I have to be really proud about how I handled the situation. And as I said, I'm just very happy for all of us, for the team, and tomorrow we have a great opportunity. We know this, but in the other way we will try to stay as relaxed as possible, keeping the smile in our head, which is important also, and then also to be happy to be here. It's not so many. For me, it's the first time that we can play a final in Davis Cup, which it means a lot for us.
One last question in English.
Jannik, just looking forward to the final, and to the other guys, please, as well, and the Australian team that you're facing in the final. You'll be playing de Minaur, presumably, in the second match, and you've got this extraordinary hold over him. I think he's only going to take 1 set off you. How much of an advantage do you think that is for you, and what confidence does that give you?
Well, we don't know who is going to play.
Se ti faccio giocare.
Yeah, we have to decide. We have to. I have a lot of hours in my leg. This I know. If I play against him, it's gonna be different. Finals, as I said, it's always different. But let's see. It's his decision. He's the captain of the team, and so he can answer you that.
What do you say?
Thanks, Jannik.
Solomon.
No, obviously it's our point of power. Jannik give us a lot of energy, give us a lot of confidence in ourselves, obviously. He's a great player, but he's not only a great player, so he's a great person. That's what I like. So, yeah, he's probably in the first position to play tomorrow.
What do you think of the Australian team?
Strong, different. Different from Serbians. Maybe more, maybe closer than Netherlands, as singles and doubles. But still, we have to take care of us, thinking about tomorrow, enjoying today, but focus for tomorrow. So head to tomorrow.
We switch into Italian, per favore, domande in Italian.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.
Ready? Play.
Am I on? I guess I am. No. Yeah, I am. All right. So, hey, guys. Of course, this is going to be the first Cincinnati semifinal on the men's side. We already have the women's final lined up between Arena Sabalenka and Jessica Pegula. Now it's time to determine the finalists on the men's. Later on tonight, I guess, depending on where you are in the world, there's going to be Frances Tiafoe playing Holger Rune, both players with a massive shot. Here we have two semifinalists that we kind of expect. Jannik Sinner, Alexander Zverev. There's still quite a lot of intrigue, I would say, about this matchup. I think mostly for two reasons. One is that Jannik has looked, well, in Toronto, sorry, in Montreal, he looked unfit when he lost to Andrei Rublev. When he beat Andrei Rublev yesterday, he was just pretty awful in general, and that match was, quite a bit of a mess. Let's see. I mean, I don't know how he's going to be today. I mean, theoretically, these courts in Cincinnati, they should suit him. But last year he lost to Dusan Lajovic in the opening round. That was probably some sort of like a fatigue factor after Montreal. Now he's obviously just so much better as a player as well, and well, still in the conversation for best player of the year alongside Alcaraz. So I really don't know, if there's really anything that's going to stop him from winning this event. But if there is, then that person might be Alexander Zverev. And if you remember the history of their matchup, Zverev actually used to be a big issue for Jannik. 4-1 in the head-to-head, the German leads. And, well, he actually lost their first meeting. So after that, he won 4 in a row. I know all of these happened in the pre-prime Jannik Sinner version. Yes, they haven't played since the US Open last year. But that US Open last year, that was close to the prime, post-puke version of Jannik Sinner, right? I remember doing the commentary on that match with John here on during the US Open night session. And I think it ended like 7 a.m. our time. So we were just like freaking out at some point, during the fifth set. I just ended up leaving this room. In fact, I was doing it in this house, and I ended up just going around. I was trying everything to keep myself awake. But I remember really enjoying their clash. I know people were disappointed with some of it, the quality maybe. It was definitely quite gritty. The humidity in New York, it was impacting both players, but I did kind of like it actually. And I'm hoping for a lot of good action today. As we know this year, the Cincinnati courts are pretty speedy, so we might not get that many rallies, especially if the Zverev serve is on fire. So far, Sinner just claimed the first game with really not much happening there. Now we have our first kind of like extended rally. Sinner dominating this one. Nice inside in forehand to get the error. Thank you, Brazy, for the US Open qualifying praise. Definitely one of the best weeks of the year for me, and I'm super excited to watch it unfold. That, of course, starting tomorrow, 11 a.m. local time in New York. We're going to get a chance to see who joins the main draw and how the courts play. I tanked the fifth set at the US Open. Yeah, I think we were both pretty much done by then. But well, we managed to get until the end. I think that was the longest night session last year, at least the longest that we did. But we were on the night session pretty much like any day, every day, I think. So I think that that was probably the longest night session last year, unless I'm forgetting about something. And what a cracker from Sinner here, that backhand cross court. I mean, in the meantime, there's also been a couple of points that Zverev just won off his serve. But this is looking fairly promising for the Italian. Maybe he can hunt or at least, look for that break in this opening game. 93 miles per hour on this backhand cross-court winner. Even for someone non-American like me, it is a pretty impressive number without actually doing the maths. Another good serve from Zverev, but it's back in play. Sinner misses the forehand cross, but yeah, he's creating some opportunities here. I think during the first part of the season, especially because we have to remember that recently Jannik has not been, sort of as amazing as he started the campaign. But especially during the first half of the season, that returning was actually one of the strongest parts of his tennis, right? Just getting everything in play, even of extremely good first serves, and getting it deep with like good margin, deep, consistent of even first serves. I mean, we remember what he did to Novak, for example, at the Australian Open, especially considering that return of serve there. So maybe this will be a big factor today. I was honestly kind of thinking that maybe it won't be, just because I've heard a lot of stuff about how Jannik has performed over the last 2 weeks. Personally, haven't watched too much of it because I was in Kozerki almost this entire week in Cincinnati, partially also in Montreal, I guess. Well, although that wouldn't be interfering with Sinner's matches. But anyway, yeah, my viewing of Cincinnati up until like yesterday was a little limited. But yeah, I'm excited to see how these guys match up on the court today. And so far, we had a deuce on the Zverev serve as he shanked the forehand. But now this next serve is going to get him his second opportunity to get us back to level terms. And after 2 games, we could maybe say we have some parity. But yeah, it's an ace down the tee. Jannik gets hit by this ball actually because it bounces off the like backboard or whatever, and it hits him in the face, I think. But yeah, it's not a big hit. It's gonna be on the replay here. Maybe in the neck. I'm not really sure. I think it bounced off his chest and then in the neck or in the jaw. But anyway, yeah, it's not a big hit. I think Zverev is also apologizing, but of course that's not his fault in any shape or form. One game all. So far, Jannik creating some chances, but not enough to really gain a break point. Mostly because of that forehand cross, that super aggressive forehand cross that he missed at 30 all. But, it was his game. It was, even though it was on Zverev's serve, it was kind of played on his terms. So that's what he wants. When he lost that 5-setter to Zverev in the US Open, of course, as I mentioned, very humid conditions, which is actually also going to be very exciting to watch out for in New York, because I know people have been complaining a bit about the fast courts in Cincinnati, and the court pace index is going to be similar in at Flushing Meadows. But I can assume that it's not the only thing sort of determining the conditions, right? So maybe the humidity will also affect how the courts play in many ways. And well, last year when they played, it was just brutal. And I think Zverev, even though he won that in 5, he was just dead against Alcaraz in the next round. This is a bit of a funky point. Sinner was expecting that return to go out, but well, he smartly still gets a play on it. But after a net court, Zverev is deadly on the forehand approach, and then a nice volley. Not the best part of his game, but he does it well enough here for sure. This was all about that very deep return. Now it's Zverev with the deep returning actually, and he's moving in again. Wow. That was actually backhand inside out as well. I guess it's not uncommon for Zverev to hit that shot. I think he's one of the few top players who hit more backhands than forehands. And it's not really because like his opponents force him to. It's more because he wants to, because it's his better shot, because it's his more stable shot. But still very aggressive on these return punches here. And he again has Sinner a little on the back foot. Jannik tries to go for a massive forehand winner down the line, and I think he has found it. Jesus, that was mad. That's the Sinner defense, you know? You're not actually on defense when you hit a shot like this. This is... Phew. I mean, we had that 93 miles per hour info a couple of points ago. I wonder how fast this was. They're not going to show it, but I mean, at least it doesn't seem like they're going to show it. But I think it was probably similar, if not faster. Crazy shot. If he doesn't make it, it's 2 breakpoints as well, which again shows you the insane confidence that Jannik is playing with right now, and you know, for a while, obviously. (40-30) for Jannik now with the ace down. Well, I mean, ace unreturned serve down the tee. Not much Zverev could do there, but so it was, you know, basically an ace, I'd say. 40-30, can Sinner claim the game? Not yet, as that forehand cross is pretty wild. Some replay of the Sinner serve. I'm not sure. Yeah, I think they just wanted to give us that replay. I don't think there was anything insane in here. Sinner with the forehand dropper. Zverev should track it down. Responds with a soft cross-court shot, and Jannik will miss his next one. I think what I lacked here from Jannik was that ability to follow up that drop shot to the net. I mean, not really an ability. I mean, I guess it's just a choice. He didn't. And after that, he was a bit late to the next shot, didn't really give himself too much angle. So we're going to have the first breakpoint, and it's actually for Zverev. I mean, some of the points he's played in this game definitely were, you know, justifying it. Especially the first two he got of Jannik. And do we have that break? Not... Yes, we do. I thought that netcourt might help Sinner for a moment, but it actually ends up that his ball is flying long. So it's an early break for Zverev. Not what I expected after the second game, but sure. In Cincinnati, this might actually be very important with the way that the courts are playing. Awesome, Brazy, that you bought ESPN Plus to watch the qualifiers and the tournament, you know, and the tournament. You bought it to watch the qualifiers and the tournament. The tournament is just like a little addition. Month of Sling in prep. Okay, so it's also some sort of a platform. I didn't know it. Yeah, I hear that following tennis in the States is pretty challenging in terms of the TV rights and the broadcasts. Who do I have? Big Foe or Holger? I don't really love the matchup for Rune. I don't know if I can stay objective as well. I mean, I think for Rune it's just so important to get that final, obviously for Tiafoe as well. But I think Holger is just the player I expect more from in general. And I think yeah, just to get back on the track, this would be so awesome for him. He started by drawing Berrettini in the opening round, may I remind you, because I think there's going to be some people who are going to say, okay, but like Alcaraz lost before facing him, Felix lost before facing him. But I mean, the guy literally had Berrettini in his opening round. And I don't know, I mean, he's the better player, but courts like this, the matchup, a little bit of an edge to Francis. I don't know. I think if Rune implements his game correctly, he's probably going to win. But Rune is not exactly known for implementing his game correctly, is he? And I think I would like to see that final Zverev Rune, because their match in Montreal I felt like was good, but it could have been even better if Rune takes that second set, if there's more to the drama and more, so the excitement gets prolonged. So I would like a bit of a redo of that match. So in other words, I'm not really sure with Rune Tiafoe. Massive chance for both players. I mean, yeah. Frances struggling most of the season, saying that he is losing to clowns, and then suddenly can get into an ATP 1000 final. In fact, I mean, Frances, that would be his first, right? I mean, I have to sort of make sure, but I don't think Frances has made an ATP 1000 final, right? I think I remember him making a semi in Indian Wells, maybe, but yeah, I don't think he's made one. Anyway, Love 15 Zverev double faults, so maybe that one break will not be as important as I thought. There's gonna be okay. Zverev is complaining about the call here. Layani telling him that it's out. Of course, we have the electronic system. And we have a replay of that. What? Oh, wow. I mean, this was... Yeah, again, by... I don't even know what to tell you. I mean, it's impossible to note this with the human... Like, notice this with just your human eye. It's... No. It's way too close. But that's why we have machines, you know. Layani, though, is nodding as if he's very happy that he was right, that it was out when he showed it to Zverev. But I think he showed like this out or this out, which, yeah, it was just like, you could probably only fit a toothpick between the line and the ball. Zverev will not be complaining too much, though, because he actually won the point. So 15-30 now. In the meantime, I'm looking for that Tiafoe ATP 1000 graph, but yeah, I'm pretty sure he hasn't made the final. But I'm interested to see how many semis he's had. Yeah, actually, I was spot on. The Indian Wells one was the only ATP 1000 semi. So this is his second ATP 1000 semi. And yeah, in this season, to get to the final would be pretty amazing. Also kind of our only chance to have like a couple of totally random Montreal Cincinnati winners, like Carreño Busta and Chorich in 2022, right? Unless Rune we also consider totally random, which I guess if we consider Carreño Busta totally random, we kind of could. Oh, depends. Ooh, that's a crazy point at 30 all. I think Zverev could have done much better at just swatting that volley away. But Sinner is there to make the backhand pass, and he deserves credit for that as well. On the slide, I think he was not expecting Zverev to give him that sort of a volley, but then again, like, he still had to cover a lot of ground to get there. So I think most of the credit still has to go to Jannik rather than, rather than the focus being on the Zverev volley potentially, potentially having to be so much better. Anyway, Zverev with a huge serve to get him to deuce. 86% on first serve so far, the German. That is going to be a big factor in this match, and it is a big factor in any match of his, really. How often he can get that first serve in despite actually still going for it. I think he's found a very nice avenue, sort of a very nice balance for himself in the last few years of maybe not risking as much as the other players in terms of his spot serving, but yeah, still having one of the best serves on tour while also getting it in like 70 something percent. And well, so far this is proving crucial in this game with these two unreturned ones, and he has a chance to go 3-1 up. Can he convert? The answer is yes. The kick serve is turning out to be as dangerous as the flat big first serve as Sinner nets his return. So 3-1 up. Bum bum bum. Sinner's laughing off the break of serve, kind of odd behavior from him. Yeah, Sinner was reacting to it in a bit of a weird way, I suppose. Jannik against Big Foe final, says Brazy. Yeah, I think all of them are possible today. Both matches are close to a 50-50 for me. I was kind of favoring Zverev, as I think, yeah, Sinner just hasn't really been at his best. And as I said, I think even though the matches that they played were pre-Puke version, I think right now Zverev is still a relative issue for Sinner, or like at least is a matchup where we're gonna get a battle. We'll see who wins, and but yeah, I think all both semifinals today are relatively close. Wow, Alexander Zverev, what the hell is that backhand cross court? He's really coming out with some brave tennis here. That's not the standard that I'm used to from Zverev, but well, it's cool to watch. It's definitely better to watch than his usual more passive approach of the baseline. That was a massive shot. Zverev with another, Sinner with another drop shot, and Zverev won't get there in time. This one was very surprising. This is not how Sinner usually plays his dropper. I think that forehand drop shot we got like 2 games ago, that was more or less what you usually expect from Jannik, and perhaps that's why Zverev still won the point. But here, that backhand plate of the stomach, yeah, it's the disguise, I think, mostly got him there. Look who is here, Nurlan. What you meant me, I guess. Zverev should have put that away. Yeah, that was to that volley. How surprised am I with this Mikkelsen McDonald run? That's the doubles finalist in Cincy. To be honest with you, I have to look at who they beat once again. I know they beat Granollers Ceballos today, which of course is pretty massive. But I mean, we've chatted about this many times that in doubles, like even though the actual doubles players most of the time tend to win, it's not like the singles guys don't have good tournaments. In fact, I think Cincinnati in 2020, it was a title for Alex de Minaur, Pablo Carreño Busta or something like that, right? So it's happened before. I think that, yeah, let me see. Also, so Mackie and Alex beat Ram Salisbury and Granollers Ceballos in a row. And also Runat Tsitsipas, which I guess isn't that big, but Purcell Thompson, they got to walk over. So yeah, basically they defeated Ram Salisbury and Granollers Ceballos in a row, like back to back. It's surprising. It's not, the most ridiculous thing we've seen, but it is definitely quite surprising. I think Mackie might have had a few big results in doubles earlier. I mean, as you know, I don't follow doubles that intensely or something like that, but I think that he had a run at one of the ATP thousands. Again, I will kind of have to confirm it. I don't want to give you like wrong info just because my doubles memory is shaky. Actually, they only have the performance timelines on Wikipedia for the slams for him in doubles. But yeah, quarter at that. Won a 500 with Melo. Yeah, I'm not sure what his best ATP 1000 result was in doubles. I would kind of have to do it another way. So I guess maybe this is a topic for another day. But yeah, I think he has had some success in doubles. I don't know. I mean, to beat Ram Salisbury and Granollers Ceballos back to back is obviously quite huge. Washington final. Yeah, maybe he actually hasn't done anything at the ATP 1000 level in doubles. It was just the 500s, but still. You meant Damie. Wow. Who is winning? 67% for Sinner in our poll. So far, Zverev, of course, up a break, but yeah, it's still early days. Sinner is in a bit of a mood today, I have to say. Like, I can't really describe it yet, but what someone said in the chat just now about the reaction to the break, and yeah, just in general, he seems to be a bit jovial. I don't know, like, yeah, just more expressive than usual, let's say. At the same time, we also have Winston-Salem going on. The first match is already there. That tournament is running on a Sunday-Saturday schedule, of course. We had Alexander Vukic beat Daniel Evans. Well, Evans just one more event, really, before he has to start entering events on his ranking of 180-ish. And Borna Choric as well, beating Sumit Nagal. If Snehil is in the chat today, he will be disappointed with that loss. I didn't watch it, so I don't know, but I've heard that Borna played very solid for his most recent efforts. And we also have Taro Daniel up a set on Marton Fucsovics and Artur Kazov very close to being up a set on Botic van de Zandschulp. But anyway, let's return to Sinner Zverev. There's another ace from the German. I just said that like he is sometimes sacrificing the placement of his serve in favor of just getting a very high percentage of them in. But, well, not in this case, that's for sure. That was perfectly in the corner of the service box. Gets Sinner a bit out of the court here, but Jannik is so quick to recover. And this will be another tough game for Zverev, it seems. Once again, the athleticism of Sinner is just so impressive as he gets that return in play, but also is so quick to be back in the middle of the court, split step, and yeah, just be back in position. Not much he's going to be able to do if Zverev is finding serves like that, though, and he seems to be favoring the the outside so far. Interestingly, because usually I think his best serve is down the tee on the deuce side. But at least so far in this game, that's where he's losing his points, and he's winning them on the outside with the out wide especially. 3-30 all. Let's see what Zverev brings up. This first serve will be long, so we got one of the rare Zverev second serves. I think one of the last ones we saw was that kick serve that Jannik couldn't handle. Might go for it again and might try to find the backhand again. That's what he does. At least Jannik puts it back in play, but he didn't feel fully comfortable. Gets a pretty high ball to Zverev's side of the court, but the German is doing a pretty nice job attacking of these loopier shots. Once again, he's kind of hitting that of the forehand position, but that's no surprise for a player like him that he's favoring that wing. 40-30 and another second serve. Probably another kicker to the back. And I mean, honestly, why go away from the pattern that has been great for you so far? Unless he wants to surprise. He does not surprise Jannik. Well, it doesn't earn him the point, but he eventually wins it anyway. In this like mid-length rally, it's Jannik who cracks first forehand line into the net. So yeah, so far so good for Zverev. It's not been like smooth sailing on serve, but you know, he's been good enough. Leading Sinner 4-2. And well, once again proving to be a pretty difficult opponent for Jannik, and especially down the break here. We know how these Cincinnati courts play and how tough it is to get back into a set once you surrender that early lead. Sinner really has to like hold on right now and try to get it back somehow. I'm the Putin of talking tennis. Interesting. So far, she has always peaked before slams, and in results, she lost quite early. I'm not really sure who that is about, to be honest. Yeah, Dave talking about the Sinner behavior and kind of rubbing his hips some, stretching his legs some on the sit down. Thanks for that, as I wasn't really paying attention to him at the bench, to be honest. I was usually like reading the comments or checking something quickly. But yeah, I feel like with Jannik, of course, this is constantly a topic, how his fitness is going to hold up. And I did have a feeling on one of the points that he might not be 100% again. I think he might kind of, sort of know it, of course, himself, and maybe it's going to be influencing his point play as well. Maybe it's going to be influencing some parts of his strategy at the very least. I think he is rushing it a bit more even than usual. This point is a good example. Like, I don't think Sinner really plays that drop shot there. Like against most opponents. In most spots like this. So I don't think your prediction is that unlikely. I think it can happen. I mean, way too early to tell, but yeah, Jannik might not be 100%. I think that's also my feeling. Yeah. Anyway, 30 all now. He drop shot at Zverev. Zverev got to it a little late, but Jannik can't find the pass. This is a let off from the German, though. The backhand return really should have been in play at least. And really should have been in the court. Especially if Sinner is maybe, just not feeling that great. Gotta attack him as early as you can. But well, for now, still a still a break lead for Zverev, and let's see how Sinner is doing. He's also walking a bit gingerly, no pun intended, to the bench. Yeah, it's a shame we constantly have to talk about stuff like that in the case of Jannik, but this year he is kind of treated by some people as Rafa back in his prime, where like there was that meme that Rafa never lost a match where he was healthy, and that's kind of the same. Now Jannik is also massaging his right hip on the bench, and now we're going to have a replay where he grabs the right hip. And he is grimacing as well. So yeah, our feeling, I guess me and Dave from the beginning of the match, that Jannik is in a bit of a mood is probably turning out to be right, and that he is compromised to at least some extent. The Kim Jong-un, interesting. What else do we have? Weird Sinners rushing kind of reminds me of Draper's behavior against Rune. Draper seemed to be late to a dinner reservation or something, or actually diner. I that's pretty interesting that I automatically assumed that you misspelled dinner, but diner can also work. Although usually for a diner you wouldn't have a reservation. But anyway, that's not important. Draper Rune I actually did not watch, but yeah, I think Sinner did rush a little bit in the first few games. And now we have also from the TV feed confirmation that he is feeling something in that right hip area again. So yeah, let's see how we keep going. But to me, it's not a problem that arose mid match. I think it's something that Jannik entered the match with and kind of knew that it was likely going to hinder him in some way. But yeah, still, I mean, it's not like it's been very easy for Zverev to just dominate. He's hitting a double fault here as well at 4-3. Maybe he has caught wind of what is happening with Jannik, or rather that, something isn't fully okay. Which tends to kind of bring players down and make them start questioning themselves. And after all, a big chunk of why Zverev has been in the lead today is how aggressive he's been, how confident he's been. So, well, he definitely cannot let that go and just kind of assume that he's going to win because Jannik won't be fine. But yeah, even the movements right now as Jannik is like walking or preparing to return, they are pretty like theatrical, if you may. I'm not saying he's exaggerating them. I'm just saying he's showing you that he's not feeling too well. That's what I'm trying to say. There was also a question from Keen a while earlier. Damien, was the Lazarov playing today a relation, and do you know why he has barely played? I would have to check. I saw his name on the list today earlier, of course, but I haven't checked that. Yeah. I think Lazarov might be a fairly popular surname, but we're still in the sort of tennis world, if you may. So I would assume that probably they're related. But yeah, I would have to check. And I definitely don't know why he's barely played. 30 all, and Sinner had a chance to win this point. I will get back to the next comments as well. I will see if I can very quickly check something about that Lazarov guy. What was his name? On G, right? George Lazarov. Oh yeah, he's definitely no, never mind. He's definitely a relative. I think he played with Lazarov a few years ago in Sofia, the ATP 250, right? Doubles. I'm pretty sure. Wow, lovely drop volley from Zverev. This is like the second time this match that he's showing great touch on that shot. Quite unusual, I would say, for him. And but I think George Lazarov, I think he played with Alex at some point in like Sofia, or no, not Sofia. No, I guess it was just ITF events actually, not Sofia. But yeah, I do remember them playing together, so I'm pretty sure that they must be related. And why he has barely played? I mean, this year he's played quite a ton actually. He's got like 43 matches this season. So yeah, I mean this year he's playing a lot. So I think last year he was still a junior, or like right after his junior career, and this year he's playing a pretty heavy schedule. But yeah, I'm pretty sure they're related. I've heard something about that when they played doubles a few years ago. And Zverev gets it done, by the way, 5-3. Let's see if Jannik can keep it just one break apart, and of course keep himself in the set. 5-3, ace down the tee. Another good serve from Jannik. Well, whatever he's feeling, it's not impacting his serving quality, that I can tell you. What does it say about a main tour event that Kirchheimer and Kumar can qualify? I mean, events during Grand Slam qualifying weeks, Keen, you know yourself how the qualifying there works, really. I mean, you're going to have players who didn't make either the main draw or didn't even make, slam qualifying. So you're going to have rankings of 250 and below, or players who like Svajda, whom Kumar beat today. Svajda was already in the main draw. Svajda is weird as hell in terms of, being able to lose to anybody, but still being pretty close to the top 100 and, having some talent, of course. So yeah, I think it's pretty common in these weeks. Slam qualifying weeks tend to have extremely weak ATP, WTA qualifying draws, so it's not the first time we see something like this. 40-15 Sinner, he lost one rally, but the serve is really keeping him in it, and it looks like he will at least ask the question of Zverev. And, to Jannik's credit, I don't think I remember a single Zverev service game that was like straightforward from start to finish. I don't think you had a hold to love from him. I think he's posing threats pretty consistently. So yeah, Nurlan Dave is a member and you're still not, but sometimes you're shading others. Super Dave over regular Dave. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's what the super word is for, right? Could the match be stopped because of this hip problem? Maybe. I think has Jannik retired this season yet? He has withdrawn from Madrid, right? I mean, as long as he's keeping a close score, I don't think he's going to retire. I could see him, like, I don't know, losing the next 4 games and then retiring. But how likely is it that he's going to lose the next 4 games if the serve is still bringing him so much? And, you know, he's clearly in this match still. So I think it's unlikely, but it's definitely, you know, on the cards if it worsens or, yeah, stuff like that. What was I gonna check? Yeah, I was thinking if Sinner retired this year, but I guess even when he played Steph, right, in Monte Carlo, he managed to get it to the end. So I guess it was only that walkover against Felix in Madrid. I don't think he has retired this season. So even though he has been struggling from time to time, he's been playing these matches all the way until the end. So, well, the last retirement from Sinner, I'm actually looking for that, and it was in Halle. But I think last year he was retiring a bit more. Then he also retired. No, it was actually in 2022, right, when he retired in Miami. But yeah, it's been a while since he retired, and he hasn't been fit in, let's say, at least half of his losses. Okay, Zverev does not start the game well, spraying that forehand cross-court wide. As I said, I don't think we've really had like a straightforward hold for him, so there is, you know, there is ample opportunity for him to mess this up. That's for sure. Even though Sinner has been compromised a little bit and is like rushing a little more than usual. And it's a double fault from Zverev, so once again he will have to climb out of a loft 30 hall. Looking at his father, who's going to try to cheer him up a bit and give him some extra energy right now. Trading backhands now. I don't like that contact point from Zverev, but he made it and set himself up for another higher ball from Sinner, which he just smashes backhand cross. This is the second one in this match where it's just a cannon from the Zverev cross-court backhand. Jannik is laughing about it again. But yeah, there's not much to do there. On the previous backhand, Zverev actually didn't get his feet right. Like, he was still a little further behind the ball. Had to lift it a bit more, but I guess Jannik didn't punish it in any way and then got burned. He is in the rally now and plays a phenomenal forehand drop shot. I mean, this is quite honestly one of the best forehand drop shots I've seen Jannik play. This is incredible. Yeah. Great disguise. I mean, you could probably start questioning if he was maybe going to go for a forehand slice as well. This is a godlike drop shot. This is something that, of course, Jannik, before his Beijing match with Medvedev last year, he was, you know, it wasn't really in his arsenal. And yeah, now it's a question of how much can Zverev do with his serve here, and maybe even win 4 points in a row, maybe just save the break points. Well, first one has been saved with exactly that, with a good serve. This time at the Sinner forehand. Jannik also has some tape or like bandage on his, what was it, right thigh, I think. It was visible now. Oh, wow. This is insane. We're still playing this point, guys. I cannot believe it. This is incredible. Sinner breaks back. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, It was a great serve from Zverev. He goes to the net after it, and it seems like, I mean, he's acting as if the Sinner return won't make it in play. But then suddenly he realizes that actually it's going to fall into the court. He plays a tweener, gets to two more shots actually after that tweener because Jannik can't quite put him away. But then he eventually does with a huge smash, and it's 5 games all. Uh, yeah. Again, like I said a couple of minutes ago, if Jannik is playing Zverev close in this match, then obviously he's not thinking of retiring. And it seems like he's going to be fighting for it. But what a horrible mistake from Zverev here to not play that smash, to just let it fall back into the court. I mean, it wasn't even close to the line. I don't know why he misjudged it like this. Then playing that tweener, still somehow staying in the point, even though it was pretty floaty. But yeah, of course, it was all about that mistake, that one mistake that wasn't even an error, in the traditional sense. He didn't put the ball long, he didn't put the ball into the net. He just literally misjudged the ball completely. That's pretty insane. And now we're back even. Now we're, yeah, back to square one. 1540 Zverev found a great serve, 3040 as well, but what the hell did he do later? 40-15 Jannik. It's the serve that's really just giving him everything right now. And he might be leading soon. He's won 11 of the last 15 points. .40-30 Sinner now. The Carota boys, or at least some equivalent of them, on our screens. They are sitting in their orange shirts there. And well, their boy just won a game, 6-4, 6-5. And this is the first time since One Love, I guess, that he's leading in this match. 46 minutes in, Jannik Sinner makes the comeback with Zverev serving for the set, and now the pressure is on the German to get us into the tiebreak even. Kim Jong-un has won 568 Grand Slams. I did hear that Killer Cahill was trying to get Sinner to toughen up and play through some pain. That's an interesting comment from Dave. I guess, yeah, he used to retire quite a lot before starting to work with him. How's Yannick's health, says Ghosty? A little bit hampered. I mean, he was grimacing, he was touching his hip, he has some tape on his right thigh. But, well, he's still in, and in fact, he's leading in the opening set now. So. Omni Kumar has a bucket like Björn Borg. Wow. I mean, I know why you said that, because he really lets go of that um, two-handed backhand. Like he lets go of that right hand, or rather, the right hand lets go of the racket very late. So I understand why you're saying it, but it's still a sentence I never thought anyone would say, that Omni Kumar has a backhand like Björn Borg. I would like to see Omni Kumar read this chat message, by the way. Did anyone surprise me in Kozaki talent-wise? I'd have to think about it. But I'm not sure. I mean, most of the players that I watched there, I mean, I already had seen live, so. Zachary means. If you don't know who I'm talking about. Yeah, that guy did surprise me. Probably not in a positive way. Anyway, 30 love, Zverev. Would be fair to get a tiebreak, I think. Zverev, of course, had the bigger chances to end the set just because he was serving for it, just because it likely should have been deuce. But I mean, it's not like things were going like very straightforward for him up until that point. So I think a tiebreak is a fair way of just deciding who takes this one, who grabs the lead. And well, at 40 love, it's a second serve. Jannik attacking a bit. He should be able to crack that short ball, and Zverev will not make the pass. 40-15. Even the way that Jannik is walking between the points is like, yeah, it's not exactly springy, you know. It's not like when you go out and it's a beautiful morning, and you kind of just run around, you jump a bit. You're like, wow, life is beautiful. Our planet is beautiful. Let's recycle trash. That's not the way that you walk on these mornings. It's the way you walk on these mornings when you wake up with a hangover. I don't think Yannick would be hangover or hungover, but yeah, that's kind of how he's walking between points. Anyway, after 50 minutes, we're getting to tiebreak. Have they played the tiebreak against one another? I would assume so, but I don't remember, so I'm going to check. I definitely do remember them playing their US Open match, as I said, and there was no tiebreaks in there. Of course, the first time they played it, the French Sinner won, and I also don't think there were any I also think there weren't any tiebreaks. They played two tiebreaks apparently. In 2021 at the US Open, the third set was a tiebreak won 9-7 by Zverev. And in 2022 Monte Carlo, it was a 7-5 tiebreak won by Zverev in the final set. Oh, sorry, three tiebreaks actually. So 7-6, 7-3 by Zverev as well in the tiebreak in the first set in Cologne in 2020. So yeah, three tiebreaks, all won by Zverev. But then again, I mean, Zverev leads the head-to-head 4-1, so it's kind of complementary to that tiebreak record, I guess, that head-to-head. Anyway, the first mini break does go to that player who has been dominating in the tiebreaks between them. Managed to get that backhand forced error from Sinner, but now he's gonna make a double fault. Yeah. I mean, the double faults from Zverev. You can write a book on what that guy does on a second serve. Maybe he should hire that biomechanics expert that Sabalenka used for the Australian Open. But no, I mean, I think it's mostly a confidence thing, right? They show up in the biggest moments because he's just not feeling comfortable, which is an issue that probably cannot be saved with biomechanics or mechanics of any sort. Anyways, Zverev will be glad to know that he's won a point at least on his delivery, so he maintains that 2-1 lead at least. Sinner with a big serve should be able to drive volley this for a winner. He does. Well, pretty risky choice, I would say, but well, I mean, at this stage, we're not going to be surprised by Sinner taking a ball like this off the air, right? Not only his comfort level at the net, close to the net, has risen the last 12 months or so. He's, yeah, just so brave in general, so. The 2-all point, though, is pretty fancy. Once again, Sinner goes for that backhand drop shot, kind of played off his belly. And this time it's a little less effective, but he finds his best pass of the match so far. And he wins the point, 3-2. What is Zverev doing? Oh no, Are we gonna have another delay? No. This has been an irritating part of the day in Cincinnati. But the sky looks relatively clear, to be honest. Anyway, yes, Zverev chased down this dropper. We have a replay of the backhand pass that Jannik played. Such a narrow angle. Really didn't have that much of an opening, but he manages to make it work. For some reason, the ball boys are on the court, even though when they showed me the sky, it looked pretty clear. No, I'm still watching a replay of Jannik hitting that backhand. But yeah, play suspended. They are staying on the court for now, though. Jannik is like extending his hand to check for the rain. But they are already hiding his umbrella. Yeah, today in Cincinnati has been very stop-start, of course. Świątek Sabalenka, they had a few delays. Badosa and Pegula, they had a more lengthy one. Jerry Armstrong is signaling something to Mohamed Layani, although I'm not quite sure what it is. I think the ball boys are going to be out and cleaning the lines with the towels. Seems like, again, it's more of an intermittent rain, if that even is a phrase. Jannik is not enjoying something about this procedure, and he's chatting about it to Layani. Ooh. Apparently Tyson Kwiatkowski retired. I don't know if anyone is really interested in that, but the match he played today, I think against Kirchheimer, right, in the Winston-Salem qualifying, will actually be his last. Well, he is from North Carolina, I think, so it's a good place to retire. I think that Ty, I mean, he was at around 200 in the rankings before he got injured a couple of years back. He had a tough sort of path to return, and well, it wasn't really going anywhere, I don't think, the last couple of months. So a little unfortunate for him to have to retire this early at 29, but I do think that it would have been very tough for him to return to his best and to his prime. Still kind of, yeah, I still don't know what we're doing here. Zverev is now complaining about something to Layani, but Sinner wants to play already, it seems. And now Layani is calling him to the bench again. So I guess it's again, there's just a little too much rain. And they will need to try to do something about it. I mean, I don't know. Unfortunately, they cannot call Lance Davis the rain removal company. Or David or whatever, Lance Davis, no, right? It was, I think, his name. And actually, right now on the camera, we can see that it's raining quite a lot. So I think this might be more of a lengthy delay, but I think before the players leave the court, we're probably going to stay on. If they do leave the court, then we will kind of like put on a bit of a, rain delay music, something like that, and hopefully be back once it's clearer. But well, it's after midnight for me, so the spectators are leaving the court, or at least trying to hide from the rain. In Polish, we have this saying that you're not gonna like melt, you're not made out of sugar, when someone is hiding from the rain a bit too much. Nearly another title for Paweł Czaś this week, says Keen. Yeah, nearly. But, well, still a solid season, obviously. And 11 quarterfinals in a row, which I think is very impressive. This hip problem is going on for several months, says Swarna. Yes, and that is quite worrying. I've fallen short of the Egyptian royalty, but I am like the North Korean dictator. And we are, in fact, leaving the court. I. I don't want to see my head on Putin's shirtless horse riding body. If I never stop drinking, I never get a hangover. That is true, yeah, until I die. Never understood why Zverev tosses it so high on the second serve, says Sean. Yeah, probably something he could have, or someone could have fixed for him a bit earlier in his career. I mean, but why was Federico Del Bonis tossing it so high on any serve, right? There was a lot of comments actually. Oh, that's an interesting one. That Monfils was mixing up between his serve stances. I think Zverev also really likes having that option of just going for broke on the second serve, which I mean sometimes he uses to a great, with great efficiency, which could maybe hamper his ability to do that if he would try. So I think that's kind of the disadvantage of potentially going for a platform stance on the second serve for him, that he would lose that thing. Who do I think is the most underrated serve in men's tennis? Yosuke Watanuki. I don't know. It's just off the top of my head. This is one of these questions where I would have to like put up a ranking list, but Stan Wawrinka. Why not? Did I watch Iga and Saba earlier today? Yes, it was a brutal demolition. Iga had nothing to do there. And, well, I think on a court like this, it will be very hard for her to beat Arena. So, yeah, she'll need a bit of magic at the US Open. And I was just thinking today that match she won, at 2022 US Open against Arena from 2 out of 4. From 2 out of 4. From 2-4 in the third against Sabalenka. This is actually maybe the most important win so far for her legacy. Like, imagine that Świątek doesn't have the US Open title right now. The debate that she's only good on clay, that she's only good in Paris would never end. And this really changes the entire outlook on her career so far, that she has that one US Open title. I am made of deepest, darkest sugar, apparently. Brown sugar. That is called, it's what it's called, I think. B-Man usually just smokes them out. All right. Yeah, so what do we do now? I think as long as the players are off the court, we could probably go for a break of sorts, and we'll be back hopefully. Oh, any Polish inside news on how Hubi is doing? I'll Google that before I go, Jane. I will. I kind of forgot he retired yesterday, to be honest. Not really. I don't see anything, to be honest. I used to get some like WhatsApp messages from the Hurkacz press team, but I think either they changed the person that was doing that, or maybe they just stopped sending them, and it was just Hurkacz, talking in like a voice message for 30 or 40 seconds. He only said something interesting there like once in 100 messages that I received. But basically, I used to get that and I don't anymore. So I don't know if maybe there was some update on his status there. But as far as I see, I mean, not much of a. Yeah, just the fact that it was his shin. No, not shin. Shin is the thing at the front, right? So I guess I would have to say, I guess just calf. And Yeah, not much generally. Might be, and apparently this might be connected to the fact that he's played so many matches in the last couple of days after just coming back. Anyway, can we watch John's interviews with players? I think that's, whatever. Something we're gonna get something. The producer is gonna bring us something. And yes, hopefully I will be back. Also, one more question from Keen. Have I hit many aces in ping pong? I mean, depends on what you mean by aces. I think in table tennis or ping pong, generally aces are defined in a bit of a different way. Like, because it would be very rare for someone to hit an ace serve, like a proper ace serve that would have been like not touched by the receiver. So sometimes like serves that are just really good and you don't actually you can't really put your return over the net or something like that, like that people sometimes call aces. But like just in general, aces are extremely tough to pull off in ping pong. Like it's just, there's not enough space really to do it. Sometimes you can maybe surprise your opponent and he's really expecting you to go that direction, you go the other way. It's like, yeah, it's super uncommon. I mean, most of the time, 99% of the time, your opponent is going to get the butt on your serve. So yeah, I don't think I've hit many aces in the tennis sense of things. When do I think it will be back? I don't know. I have to check the forecast. Honestly, the sky is very weird. They're already like cleaning up the court, but let's still go off for like 5-10 minutes, whatever you can put on, the producer. But I don't think it will be that long, to be honest. I think we'll be back relatively soon. I hope so, at least. See ya.
Play. You're sitting next to me?
Yep.
I go more to the left or I stay?
Yes, slightly to
Yep.
the left. Good idea. Okay. Cool. I'm here again with Benny on a is it a day off today, more or less? I mean, I know you practice and stuff.
Yeah, day off, but I practice exactly. Had some appointments with SAP, big company, huge sponsor here for the tournament. Yeah, but day off.
Day off. First thing I would like to say is something a little bit left field regarding yesterday. I was watching you, and I think you were wearing a Nike T-shirt, Nike shorts, Asics shoes, and maybe Yonex socks. I'm not sure which.
I think it was Under Armour.
Under Armour. Okay,
Yeah.
they're your socks. So, but it's just something when you're a bit lower down the rankings, let's say. Not everybody, of course, has a kit deal, as we would call it in English. Have you had one in the past?
Yes, I remember. I played Dunlop rackets and I had Dunlop clothes. I still have some Dunlop clothes I wear now, but right now I don't have a sponsor for clothes, so I wear the things I have.
Yeah, sure.
So that's why everything is mixed up.
It's a common thing for players a bit lower down the rankings, but I think somebody with, if you don't mind me saying, a game like yours, pretty spectacular. I think you have an interesting background, and I want to speak to you about that. It's kind of surprising to me that there aren't more sponsors that are interested in saying, here, look, just a year's worth of free clothes, for example, or whatever.
Yes, I'm also surprised, but I also understand because I'm not the youngest anymore. Maybe less potential than a guy who's maybe 20 or 21 and could, I don't know, become top 20 in the world. I mean, I'm 29. I have maybe 6-7 years to play if I'm lucky. So I think that's something which is not attractive to sponsors.
Yeah. Perhaps, but I think, I mean, we were talking a bit yesterday about, obviously we'll also go into the Olympics, but you obviously got a reasonable fan base around the world. There's a lot of Lebanese living here in Germany, but in many other parts of the world, and many of them were congratulating you on your recent Olympics, right?
Yes, a lot of, and I didn't expect it. It was unbelievable. Many people from outside of Lebanon and also living still in Lebanon, even people who don't follow tennis. That was the crazy part, because it was such an history-breaking thing. Because I was the first Lebanese to ever play and the first Lebanese to ever won a round, then for sure in tennis. which was crazy. And I didn't know that it meant so much for the Lebanese people because they have a hard time now. So I'm very glad that they're still following and still having the hopes up.
Yeah, indeed. Let's go into a little bit of detail about you and your background. I mean, you're born in Germany, but obviously you have a Lebanese background. Tell us a little bit about that and also how you got into tennis.
So yes, I was born and raised in Germany. Both my parents from Lebanon. My father moved from Lebanon to Germany when he was 17. Flew from the civil war there, and my mom was a kid when she moved to Germany, and they met in Germany in Saarland. I don't know where if you know where it is.
Saarland. Yeah.
Saarland, yes, and that's exactly where I was born. But yeah, and my father brought me to tennis. He was also a former Davis Cup player for Lebanon.
Okay.
Still coaching nowadays, so he's a coach in my home club Neuwied. Yes, and he's still loving the sport so much, and all my family play tennis, so we're a tennis family.
I've actually been to Lebanon myself. So yeah, just over a year ago I was there. And
Beirut?
in Beirut. Well,
Beirut,
I went
yeah.
to many places actually. I was around. Sounds like you're going to interview me now.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I did
Where
a
have you
little.
been?
It's not a big country, so we hired a
sure.
car, and we went along the coast, went to some nice places there, and then we got to. Is it Tripoli in the north?
Tripoli, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Tripoli.
And then came back. We did a wine tour and
Nice,
went
yeah.
and saw some of that. So there's a lot of things, of course, about Lebanon that many people don't know, but the food is just out of this world.
Good, yes. That's what I hope to hear.
Yes, indeed. And
Food is
it's despite being a small country, extremely diverse.
Yeah.
And also in Beirut. Oh, by the way, I drove in Beirut. We hired a car.
Me too.
You've done it too.
Yeah, yes,
Tell
yes.
us how was it for you?
Actually, I like it.
Oh, really?
I like it, yeah.
Some of the motorbikes coming from everywhere.
Yeah, but they don't have any routes. It's
Okay,
just,
yeah.
But I still feel they drive together. You know?
Okay.
So you just honk with your car, and then everyone is alert, and they know that you're coming. But I like to drive. You can do whatever you want.
Yes,
It's
indeed.
not too many routes.
But no, a great time. And so a little bit on a more somber note, I was there just over a year ago, but of course we've just had last week, I think on Sunday, we had the 4-year anniversary of the explosion, of course, which is something for many people that we still can clearly remember. And I don't know if your family in particular have had an impact because of that explosion. I mean, I know they live in Germany now, but maybe, do you have any relatives still in Lebanon?
Yeah, my uncle and some cousins still there. With the explosion 4 years ago, yeah, they felt it for sure, but nothing bad happened to them because they were really in the central of Beirut. And actually, I've been, I think 3 months after the explosion, I've been there and I saw the place.
Me too.
Yeah,
Well,
it looked horrible.
yeah.
Looked really horrible. Yeah.
So yeah, this is obviously a tough memory, and there's. I mean, you mentioned how your parents fled the civil war. When I was in Beirut, I went to very close to what was used to be a Holiday Inn in the 70s, and now it's just a dilapidated, empty building, and it's quite weird to sort of see these pictures in the early 70s of how Lebanon was then and how developed it was, and now obviously post-civil war in the 70s, and then what happened since. I'm just wondering what kind of a connection you still feel though to Lebanon, with obviously your uncle being there and this situation, obviously growing up in Germany, but obviously having family.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Davis Cup since 2018 now. So twice a year, I'm always there, meeting my family and meeting all the other Lebanese I know from the federation and the team, the Davis Cup team. We try to visit a lot of places there, so I know a little bit about Lebanon. But it's always amazing to go there. Of course, 70s was before my age. I don't know how it was there, but I heard a lot of good things. They called it the Paris of the, what do you say it?
Of the Middle East?
Middle East, yeah. In German it's different now. Ost.
Yeah.
But yes, it's been beautiful. What I heard, I feel beautiful. Of course, you can see that they had some problems in the past with the wars and everything. But it's still a beautiful country. I enjoy it every time I go there. It's incredible.
Moving on and looking at your tennis career, I'm sure there's many highlights and some not so big highlights, but we obviously recently had the Olympics, playing at the Olympics and beating Eubanks, then obviously running by us very close. Where does playing the Olympics rank in your career?
Yes, it's tough. I mean, it's a big part, of course. It's the biggest event in sports. So it's of course in the higher ups. I would say probably same with the Grand Slam, same level, maybe a little bit under, just because there's no points and no rankings, no money. But it's a huge event. It was unbelievable for me to play there. Unfortunately, I don't follow too many other sports.
Okay.
But I try to do that now. So I couldn't watch any.
Were you staying in the village?
I was staying in the village.
How was it?
It was nice, very nice to see other athletes there. We all ate together. Was beautiful. We had some bikes there where we can drive around at night. It was good. The only thing is we had no AC in the room.
Oh, really?
So it was so tough to sleep.
And is this the case for all the athletes,
Not
or
for
you
all-
just had a bad
No,
luck?
not for all. There were some athletes. I heard now the one who won gold from Italy in swimming. He also didn't have AC, so he stepped outside in the park. I don't know.
Wow.
I saw some pictures. But I know also from my German friends who were there in the German house that they have the AC. They had AC, so they could sleep. But for us, it was incredibly tough to sleep.
Okay.
But the beds were not that big of a problem.
The beds were okay.
For me, it was okay. It was hard, yes. Maybe I could use one more pillow, but the AC was the toughest part.
Did you have a single bed or a double bed?
I had a single bed, but sharing with my coach, with the Davis Cup coach. Yeah.
Okay, so there was two of you in the room. Okay.
Two of me in the room. Then next to us, another two guys, the player and the manager. And
next door. you
next
mean?
door,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And then we had like a small living room.
Okay.
And then there was another room there with two people sleeping.
So it felt like an apartment, really.
It was an apartment, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
It was an apartment, yeah.
Did you see some sort of famous names? I mean, you said you don't follow other sports that much, but did you see many famous names? Maybe you saw. I guess you saw Rafa or Carlos, maybe.
I
floating
saw
around.
Carlos and Sasha. Sasha I talked to a
yeah.
little bit. Alcaraz, he was there. But the big guys, I don't think that they stay in the village because they need some privacy. They probably cannot sleep in the bed. For example, if you imagine LeBron James sleeping on those beds, the bed is too small. Who did I see? Holmes, the runner.
Yeah.
Female runner. Yes, I saw her. The German also sprinter girl Alicia Schmidt was
Yeah.
there. Yes. So some names I saw, of course, but I don't know too many of them, unfortunately.
Did you see sports people as well wandering around with their medals at all? I mean, some of the events are done in the first 48 hours, and the medals are being handed out. I don't know if you saw anyone wandering around with a medal around the neck.
No, I haven't.
Okay.
But a lot of athletes exchanging pins and asking me to exchange pins.
Did you do some of the pin exchange?
Yes,
thing?
of course, but we only got, I think, 15 or 20 pins from Lebanon. So after the first day, they were all gone. Unfortunately, yeah.
Lebanon, we need more pins.
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Just looking at your career, and I sort of wanted to put the Olympics in the context. Tell us about maybe a couple of your biggest moments in your career.
So
apart from playing Bonn.
Yes, sure. So I would say one of the biggest was also my first one. That's how I started to become a professional. It was 2017 when I was 22, I think, playing the Challenger in Koblenz in my hometown. That was the start point to my career. Because then I started to play professional tennis, and where I said, okay, I leave my university behind and focus on tennis. Then, of course, this year, all the Grand Slams for the first time. This was the dream that I wanted to achieve before when I started my career, to play all the qualies in the Grand Slams. And yes, Olympic Games for sure. Still, I like to play Davis Cup a lot. It's nice with them. Beautiful family we have. I enjoyed a lot, and also the Bundesliga we have in Germany. Also nice events. It's something different in the team also, because all the time we're traveling alone to tournaments, to places you don't want to be sometimes. So it's always a nice change if you have team members with you where you can share your funny memories, or you create funny memories. It's always a nice change.
Because it can be a bit of a lonely sport, tennis, right?
It is, especially traveling. I hate traveling, and then alone in the hotel room. And I'm also not the guy who goes to sightseeing a lot. So, yes.
What are you doing? Playing computer games or watching Netflix?
Actually, a lot on my phone, talking to my girlfriend, talking to my family. Yeah. Playing some games on the phone, but not many, not computer games. I've not been into that too much.
Tell us about a match or two that really in your career stands out for you as a special memory. It can be a win or a loss. I mean, sometimes losses can be memorable.
Olympic Games against Baez for sure was a really good one. 7-6 in the third against a top 20 guy.
Still good. You still call that good, even though you lost narrowly.
Yeah, for sure. It was an incredible level we played. Unfortunately, I lost, but still I was so happy with my result there that I couldn't be mad about it, even if I lost.
Is there a Grand Slam match, for example, that stands out, either good or bad?
No, not stands out because I'm I'm happy that how I did. Could go better, could go worse, but I wouldn't say I was standing out. Was crazy matches. But I had some crazy matches against Vavasori in Stockholm. I will never forget saving 3 match points, 1-7-6, 6-7, 7-6.
Oh wow!
Was really crazy fight. Qualifying for my first Masters in Madrid this year, playing against Chorich the first round, having a good level.
Yeah, I saw that match.
That was something very good.
Yeah.
I'm very proud of. So I had some good memories and also some bad, of course.
Is there a player on the tour who you would love to play? Anyone? This is
Still playing?
Yeah, still playing. Yeah. Why would you go Federer?
Yes, for sure.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Why Roger?
Roger is an unbelievable guy. How he played the game, what shots he had, it was unbelievable to watch. It's something that no one could ever achieve. What he did for me, tennis-wise, what he could do on the court, if he had a good day, it was unbelievable. So if you ask me who the GOAT is, I know if you talk about numbers, it's Djokovic.
Sure.
I know that, but still for me, it's Federer.
Where would you play Roger? Wimbledon or?
Yeah.
Court 17?
No. Roehampton.
Roehampton, yeah, good one. Let's talk about your game. I was watching you pretty closely yesterday. I've seen you on TV many times, but the first time I've seen you actually in the flesh. And it's a pretty aggressive style, right? In terms of like attacking play, and you've got a bit of a variety there. Where has that always been the case? Is it something that's happened that you've evolved, or is it just your skill set?
No, it's linked also to Federer, I would say.
Okay.
I watched him a lot. He was the only player I watched. I hated to watch Djokovic and Rafa, even though they played unbelievable tennis, but it was too much the same all the time, playing rallies from the baseline. It was boring for me. It still is boring. And Federer is the one who had some variety. He had serve and volley with the slice, with the drop shots, attacking tennis, searching the opportunity, and that's how I always wanted to play. I'm still trying to play like this, even though it's tough, and I need the skills of Roger and the talent. But that's how I like to play tennis, and I think I play the best when I play like that.
Well, a message to Roger. You've got a reason to come out of retirement now, so you can come and beat him, because at the moment you have an unbeaten record against Roger.
I never lost to Roger. How can I do? Never lost to Rafa, never lost to Djokovic.
Thanks very much, Benny.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thanks. See you.
See you. If you
Ready? Play.
Yeah, I killed my own Benjamin Hassan joke. Never mind. I was just gonna say that Benjamin Hassan is unbeaten against Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, but he lost to Elmer Miller. So, what does that tell you? Anyway, yeah, I don't know anything about rubber bands instead of vibration dampeners. I actually stopped using the dampener a few years ago. Anyway, we're back at 2-3 in the tiebreak, and it's actually a 3-all already after a big serve. So, yep. We'll see how this match progresses from here. Of course, this is pretty much one of the most crucial moments of it that we're going to get. Whoever takes this first set will... and yeah, I forgot about Mike as well, which I usually don't need to hold. will probably like their chances as well to keep going in this one. And good luck, everyone, says Ashley. Yeah, good luck, Cesare. Good luck, Zverev. Let's keep going with this one. Just before we left, of course, 5-4 Zverev. He was serving for the set. Jannik won that crazy point. I saw there was a bit of a viral tweet from Bastian on Twitter where like he said that Sinner wins that epic point to break back, and there's no reaction from him. But I mean, there's no reaction because Jannik isn't feeling 100%, right? But well, anyway, never mind. Free games all, and just keeping the ball in play here. Sinner opens up the court a bit for himself, but nothing crazy yet. This is actually one of the longest rallies of the match. Good depth on the Zverev bucket, or is it just an error? No, maybe it's an error. We're gonna see it on the replay, but of course, in this case, it's not gonna give us much. Yeah, actually, it's an error. It's a little behind the baseline. That Papa Zverev is not pleased with this, and it's a mini break for Jannik. 4-3. Oh, how he would love these two big serves right now. I guess this is a let. Pretty lucky for Zverev, to be honest, because that was a perfect serve if it doesn't clip. Well, he finds a decent one and will probably finish the point off with a drop shot. Well, actually not, because Zverev tracks it down, and then once again he kind of makes Sinner, well, have to go for a pretty narrow angle with the backhand pass. He found it on the 2-all point in this tiebreak, I think. At 4-3, he doesn't. So it's 4 points all now. The mini break lead has been restored by Zverev. Things very open still at the moment. And it's a second serve from Sinner. I wonder if we're going to see one of these return 1-2 punches that Zverev brought earlier in the set. Probably not, right? I mean, yeah, it's an important point. He's going to play it passive as hell. And wow, he pays the price. That is just lousy. That is just lousy on the forehand from him. And well, there are good errors, right? There are good errors when you're like trying to gain an advantage, when you're trying to make your opponent miss. This was not a good error. This was just nerves. So 5-4, and while Sinner doesn't have that mini break advantage anymore, just one point over the next two, and he will have a set point on serve. So it's not a perfect situation for Zverev. Oh, this is good enough though. Serve out wide, and then the forehand kill this time, did make a mess of it. And I have to say that serve out wide on the outside has been a friend to Zverev today, the entire match. Before the rain delay, after the rain delay so far. Now he's going to have to go on the deuce side, where he usually likes to hunt down the T corridor. Let's see if this is also his idea here. He tries to serve maybe at the body, maybe at the Sinner forehand, a little unclear, but it clips the net, or actually just, hits the tape and doesn't go over. So a second serve. I think he's already double faulted in this tiebreak in the second point. This time he puts it in play. So it's a rally, that we know. Yeah, the ball striking a little shaky from both guys from time to time, but so far they're in. Sinner forces Zverev to slice and has him little on the back foot, but I think the first one to miss is actually going to be Sinner. Yeah, he's checking the Hawkeye, just, I don't know, in the hopes of whatever, but yeah, it was definitely out. With that inside-out forehand, he had Zverev on the stretch. The slice that the German played, it was high, it was floaty, it was nothing dangerous. But Sinner still made that error, and for that he will have to pay. Oh, wow. Please tell me Sinner wins that. Oh my goodness. What a crazy point. I mean, before I even tell you what happened, Layani and Zverev are just laughing at each other. And yeah, Zverev's return was a total shunk. It falls into the court, and Sinner decides to take it with a smash, which actually was a pretty risky decision. And he finds the line with it, like literally just finds the line. Sinner just no reaction to it, he's really just, at the moment, he's not reacting to anything anymore. And Zverev and Layani sharing a laugh as, just Jannik just found the outside of the line with a ridiculous smash, set point down. Ooh, the ball clips the net, but Jannik is composed here. That's really nice from him. I think that it was short enough where you could actually get confused a little bit, but he finds good depth on the forehand approach shot and still wins the point. So from 5-6 set point Zverev, we are now at 7-6 set point Sinner. All about the serve quality from the German here. Off the ground, he is usually losing in this tiebreak. And well, so far that serve quality is extremely high. Serve down the tee on the outside now, so he went kinda against that favorite direction of his so far in this match. Went for the trusted down the line serve. Jannik once again almost hit in the head while it was bouncing off the backboard, just like in the first or second game. And another time he goes down the tee, this time on the deuce side. That's the trademark serve of his, and 2 aces in a row. That is very impressive from 6-7. Now we have 8-7 and Sinner to serve. Zverev dodged a bullet here, I would say. But I think Jannik finds the line too. Now it's just an acing contest from both players. 8-all, and we can see on the Hawkeye that it was just in, like literally just right. Again, you couldn't even put a toothpick between the line and the serve that Sinner just found. But it's 3 aces in a row, counting, both players. Next point should also be Sinner's, and it all starts with the good serve. Then a backhand with a slice jump cross-court. So 9-8 and another set point for Sinner. We've had a very sort of like, just a super rapid streak of points the last 4 or 5. The players are just eliminating the set points, just in milliseconds. I mean, that was potentially a bit risky from Zverev to go backhand again, to go backhand cross-court again, or rather actually to just go backhand cross-court here. Sinner was standing there. Sinner had the minimal chance to connect with a pass. He didn't. It was still a very low margin shot that Zverev was asking him to hit, but let's say there was a slight shot. There was a slight opportunity for him to make it. But anyway, doesn't matter in the end. It's still 9-all. And well, multiple set points saved by both by now. I think so, right? I mean, 6-5 Zverev had a set point, 7-6 Sinner had a set point, 8-7 Zverev had a set point, and 9-8 Sinner had a set point. So multiple set points saved by both players now. And who knows, maybe this just raises the importance of this tiebreak, right? Maybe whoever wins it will have even more momentum and confidence for the rest of the match. So let's see, 9 points all. And Zverev with a second serve. He puts it in play. I think the goal was clearly just to do it and not anything else, but the backhand is leaking. The backhand is leaking from Zverev, and there's going to be a set point for Sinner on his serve. This is something we haven't seen in this tiebreak yet. All of the other set points were on the player who was receiving had them. So this is the biggest opportunity Jannik has had, and this is his chance to take this set. 10-9. Great serve down the tee. The return goes in, though. Zverev survives. but he's on the back foot. Jannik is going to drive volley, then play another volley, and Zverev will try to catch it, but Sinner gets it done. 11-9 in the tiebreak. He is still looking a little like, well, it's clear he's not feeling 100%, but he's fighting through it, and through a great effort, he actually manages to take the first set. After 70 minutes, I would probably question if it was really 70 minutes of play, though, because of course we had the rain delay, and I'm not sure how the clock was, when the clock was stopped then, when it was restarted. But let's also look at the stats. 13 winners, 13 unforced errors for Sinner, 13 winners, 21 unforced errors for Zverev. 4 points won by Jannik. 4 more points won by Jannik, 49-45. Baseline points won pretty much the same. Unreturned serves pretty much the same as well. So yeah, very similar, really. Of course, a higher first serve percentage in from Zverev, but a higher percentage won on both first and second serve by Jannik. 4 double faults from Zverev, but he covered it up with 5 aces. Only 1 breakpoint that Zverev had at the very beginning of the set, but well, he managed to make the most out of it, but he still loses it despite having 2 set points, both on Jannik's serve, though. We have a replay of that final point. Jannik taking the drive. Zverev still plays it back, but then that drop volley from Jannik is good enough. And well, Dave says good errors equals correct shot selection, failed execution, bad errors, incorrect shot selection leading to errors. Yeah, that's fair. I was thinking in sort of like a more, if you are aggressive, you're trying to earn something, which I guess kind of is what you're saying with the correct shot selection, failed execution. I think bad errors could probably be like also incorrect shot selection that doesn't lead to errors, but you just mess it up as well. I don't know. It doesn't really need to be incorrect shot selection in order for it to be a bad error, if that makes sense. But, your description is perfectly fine, I think. Crazy breaker, crazy set. When Zverev doesn't take a full swing on his backhand, it's pretty shaky. Yeah, when he's not trusting it, definitely. And, well, we know that he has issues trusting his own shots. Are we back? Of course we are. Are the beaches nice in Poland? Sure. I mean, we have a lot of beaches at the sea. We are also a country of many, many lakes. There's an entire sort of region in Poland, which is just like sometimes they call it like a land of 1,000 lakes or something like that. Where I am right now in my hometown, I live about 200 meters from the lake. It also has a beach. So yeah, I mean, I would say no matter whether you go sea or lake, you're definitely gonna find some good water, beach, sand action in Poland. Yes, I don't know if it's particularly better than in other countries, but I mean that's definitely part of our tourists infrastructure and stuff. Of course, particularly next to the sea in the north. In my current place, where I'm living most of the year, I have like maybe like 15 minutes on foot to the beach. So I can't say maybe I spend that much time there, but I do run over there. So I a lot of my running paths are more or less next to the sea, or at least during some of their length they run next to the sea. So anyway, Zverev already back serving, was 40 love up, but now Jannik is in control of the point, and this is going to be his best forehand drop shot of the match. helped that he was very much in the court already, almost at the service line, so much easier to play the shot. Zverev so far out to his forehand corner as well, but here the execution was just top notch. 30 miles per hour winner speed they're showing to us on the screen, which, yeah, I don't really know how to compare it with most drop shots, to be honest. But in the end, Zverev will still get the game with this deep serve at the body. Of course, by now this match has really swung in another way. When it was 5-4, we were thinking, 5-4 in the first set for Zverev. We were thinking, okay, so he probably gets this done. And well, he's very much in control of this, thinking of how Jannik is responding to stuff physically. But by now, I mean, it's actually Zverev who is going to have more pressure on himself to find something. And yeah, things have stopped being so easy for him. Sinner forehand placement analysis on our screens, 60% in the sort of middle area, 40% closer to the lines. I'm not sure what they were trying to demonstrate with that stat, but I think it more or less comes together with that, change of mindset maybe that I was mentioning earlier, where he's really just going for bigger, safer targets this year a lot. Which has made his game a lot more sustainable. Maybe not necessarily at the physical level yet, because clearly he is, struggling quite a bit with his physicality in many matches, but it has made it significantly more repeatable. And well, just more good serving from Jannik as he goes 30-15 up. That is the one part of his game, or actually, I mean, of course, he's playing perfectly fine, but that is the one part of his game where I feel like we can definitely say that, okay, the whatever discomfort he was feeling, it's not hampering him on the serve. During that rain delay, I mean, Jannik also could have gotten some physio treatment or, I don't know, some quick stuff. I'm not really sure how that works, right? But I'm pretty sure someone tended to whatever his issue was as well. Maybe that will be helpful. But let's see. Maybe it's not that crystal clear yet that he's also going to be putting on the pressure on Zverev in this set. This is more of a throwback to some of the early games in the first set when Zverev was very aggressive on his return and kind of just punching a big backhand cross, running to the net. This is exactly the play that he executed here. It's so very clearly a comfort level thing as well, right? When you think of him kind of starting the first set with such aggressive play, and then in the tiebreak, he gets a second serve from Sinner at 5-4, and he's 3 meters behind the baseline, and at 4-all, and he's 3 meters behind the baseline, and just wants to kick off the rally, and actually makes an error as well, which adds to it. But anyway, here he very likely could have secured a break point either with that deep forehand counter, which Sinner barely got to, or with that net approach later. But Sinner passes him down the line, and it's a pretty stunning shot. Again, very narrow corridor he had. Zverev is going to be at the net again. Can he make it? He does, but that's because he shanks the forehand volley. There's a great shot banner, on a banner around the court, on an electronic one. There's this great shot line that is shown to the spectators. Well, it's good he reached that volley. That wasn't easy, but I don't know if I would go as far as say that this was a great shot. Well, what was not a great shot, I can tell you, is that +1 forehand from Sinner, which actually just goes wide. And that was a position where, yeah, he had no business missing. No business missing whatsoever. And suddenly we have a breakpoint for Zverev. Of course, that's also how he started the first set, with an advantage of a break. Will he get it this time? Again, we see Zverev just decelerating on these backhands, you know? It's classic Zverev, I suppose. And obviously he's going to lose the point, as someone mentioned in the chat. I mean, when he has that lack of trust, especially in his stronger wing as well, there's really not that much that he can do in terms of like a saving grace. And we see that again. And it might end up costing him that game. Gone were the deep aggressive returns he was hitting the entire game. He just wanted to play a rally and just wanted to hope for a Sinner error, which didn't come. So 1 game all now. Jannik saves a breakpoint early on in the second set. Anka, we cannot put the match because we would be banned. It's illegal. Minnesota is the land of thousand lakes. Yeah, in Poland there's this region called Mazury. It's or Pojezierze Mazurskie as well. And I think that is sometimes called the land of thousand lakes as well. I have not done a full marathon, no. I've done mostly I think the longest I've ever run was 21K. I don't think I cared about it being a full half marathon, so it could have been just 21, not 21,097. But it was a few years back anyway. Then I stopped running for like 5-6 years. Since returning to it this year, I probably haven't run more than like 15. That's some more nasty errors from Zverev. Love 30. With the Spanish play table tennis on clay? Probably not. Yeah, I agree, Keen. Zverev could definitely use a slice in some of these spots. He does sort of lose that contact point on the backhand sometimes when he's a little bit too behind of his feet. And then he is still like really forcing himself to try to get the backhand over the net, whereas it would be easier for him to play a slice from that position, definitely. I kind of get it. I mean, he considers his backhand to be the strongest shot on the tour, or the strongest backhand on the tour. It's not quite there, but it's in the conversation. So I guess I understand it, but at the same time, yeah, it's one of the many ways he is kind of hampering his percentage play and just not really getting the most out of his potential. Still, the most important part being the mental side of things, which we can see even in this match. We can see it so clearly, right? Double faults in the most unfortunate moments. The fact that he is like playing so aggressively on return from time to time at the start of sets, but then decelerates when basically there's any key point later on. Must be a pretty frustrating player, I think, to kind of like follow and hope that he will max out his potential. Or maybe he has maxed out his potential. I mean, honestly, it's a legit conversation, I suppose. I think you would find people who think that he has kind of reached his ceiling and just doesn't have that extra gear. Then I guess that's an opinion I cannot really like completely disagree with. Anyway, 40-30. from love 30, some quicker points for Zverev here. This one Jannik is in though. Another forehand drop shot. It's not that good, but the backhand pass is. Oh wow. This is similar technique to that drop shot. I think it was late in the first set, which I said was maybe the best one I've ever seen Jannik hit. The execution wasn't as good, but yeah, he finds the pass. I think he read Zverev like a book there with where the German was going to go with the forehand approach shot. So that drop shot pass play ends up being very, very effective here. We are at deuce. Of course, a break for Sinner here, and we would find Zverev in real trouble here. Again, by the way, the Zverev serve down the tee hits the backboard, and then the ball goes back at Jannik. So Zverev has to apologize for that, like for the third time in this match. Funnily enough, it hasn't happened the other way around. Must be kind of connected to how the court looks simply in Cincinnati as well, right? I mean, if the length of the area around the court and sort of where the players move would be just a bit different, then probably it wouldn't be so easy for these balls to bounce back at Jannik. But again, who cares? It's obviously not a problem if they are just kind of like smearing him. Ghosty saying that it feels like Zverev is running probabilities in his head and always choosing the highest percentage shot. Interesting. I would definitely say that I get what you mean. His play is very like standardized, yeah. I think that the bigger issue is still the lack of confidence he has in it in the bigger moments, and kind of just sticks to his comfort zone. But I guess that's connected to it, right? He just kind of thinks he's found the optimal way of playing and will keep going for it, sort of regardless of what's happening out there. And well, I don't think he's actually found the most optimal way of playing, or at least he's found the most optimal way of playing in against many opponents in many matches, but not quite against the very top. Matej Wotzel, have I watched him? I think so, but I cannot tell you anything, to be honest. I mean, I know he's a college player, right? And I think he used to do extremely well in college, actually, which is probably why I watched him like 2 years ago or something like that. What is he playing this week that you're asking about him, actually? I think I remember some old Challenger pod episode where we were talking about him with Jakub as well. Like ages ago, really. I don't remember for what reason. Like but I definitely remember us checking out the guy. Don't think his career has really like had started after. Like kick started after college, right? But he was a thing in college. He was a thing. I guess he's playing mostly just doubles now. As for Philipp Henning being a favorite in Jinan, probably the fact that he hasn't played at this level doesn't mean much, because of course the draw isn't actually that much better than the events that he's been playing. But I think the section he's in is really tricky. I mean, the quarters against Iju or Shimizu, that's not easy. And there's also a certain name in the draw, which is Yibing Wu. And that guy, Yibing Wu, I mean, he shows up 85% healthy, 85% in rhythm, and he probably wins it just because he's insane. Anyway, things aren't going so smoothly for Jannik again in his service game. 15-30, he just missed a wild forehand cross, and Zverev is in the next rally. That's on the line from Jannik, I think, and he tries to go for the drop shot cross again, but this time it's like middle of the net. This is getting even more tricky for Jannik. $15.40. Sinner gets a great return in play. I mean, he's not going to be dictating in this point, or at least wasn't going to be. By now he is, and he's going to get the error from Jannik on the forehand on the stretch. So 3-1 Zverev now. He's up a break in the second set. Jannik is going to switch his racket, I think, as it's new balls now, or at least, well, it was new balls a second ago, but now he's going to be returning with them. I heard someone say that Raducanu doesn't play qualifiers because it would be bad for her image with all of the sponsors. Does that make sense? No, it does not. But I think the reason why we haven't seen Emma play or try herself in qualifying isn't really known to us. So I don't know. I mean, personally, I think that if she played the qualifying, that could even be good for the sponsors because this is a story that would gain traction. I mean, US Open she obviously won it from qualifying, and generally players who are willing to drop down a level are often praised for that. So yeah, personally, I think there's a lot more benefits to potentially playing qualifying rather than not for someone like Raducanu. I mean, also the match rhythm. I understand that she's done some, well, let's say, dubious scheduling around the grass season, for example. I mean, just skipping the rest of the clay completely to prepare for the grass, and that actually worked. That was actually successful. But I mean, can she keep pulling that off? Can she just sort of skip both WTA 1000 events and then go into the US Open? I don't know. It's getting quite weird that she's not willing to try herself in the qualifying. Speaking of players who are like not capitalizing on the opportunities they possibly have, 3-1 for Zverev. Everything seems to be like, yeah, just jolly with him, He's like, yeah, sure, I'm up a break now. I was up a break in the first set, but this is different. I'm gonna take it this time. I'm gonna have 3 quick service holds. That's the energy he was sort of giving, But he actually gets broken to love. And well, this was not a break that I mean, Sinner earned it completely, but this was just a break that took a minute, and that's not good enough from Zverev, really. That is absolutely not good enough. He was working so hard for that previous break, he landed it and then just gave it away. Well, I mean, this has been a rough one for Zverev. I think if he loses this in straights, he's going to be kicking himself. I sometimes, I mean, it's way past 1 a.m. for me, and I do tend to lose my points sometimes. So if that ever happens, sorry, guys. Zverev is a peak performance jock, so he's not really ready when the heat is on, and he has to be clever and take thoughtful risks to survive. There's definitely very little improvisation in his game, and I think someone said it already. Just like, oh yeah, Dave said 10 minutes ago that he doesn't think Zverev is able to be very creative on the court. I cannot believe Jan Bai is ranked so high. Where is he ranked? That's, I guess, what I'm gonna have to check. I mean, I would assume like 350 or something like that. I mean, he's won a lot of 25Ks, I think, including just this week. He won a 25K in China. In fact, I still have the draw open for Jinan, so I should be able to find it. Oh, 277, really? Okay, that's a pretty stunning comeback from him after not playing like during the entire pandemic swing. But yeah, time to make some challenger impact. Played 3 challengers this year, qualified in all, and lost in the main draw of all. And we're also gonna have, yeah, Ghosty is just like bringing up all the possible examples of Zverev's mental issues. I don't know why Nurlan blocked John, and that's apparently so he cannot see or read his messages. What is Max's ceiling, in my opinion? It's not super high. I think with time, maybe he can get to main tour level, but that would be like already an achievement. I think that he is a guy who will max out his potential, though. Max, by the way, no pun intended there. But I do think he is a guy who will like really reach everywhere he can reach, just because he's got a very good head on his shoulders, knows what he's gonna have to work on, and yeah, I think he's just a super professional. Like, yeah, just I think that whatever he can do, he will achieve. Now, what he can do is probably, yeah, just if he ever makes the top 100 and stabilizes there some way, I think that already will be a very nice career for him. For now, it's clear he can be at the challenger level for ages. It's just unclear whether he can go for more. Of course, getting to Grand Slam qualifying, this is massive. Winning 2 challengers this season already, it's great as well. And Poznan especially, the Challenger 100, that was fantastic. And yeah, I think that's kind of where I stand with Max. I don't think that he's gonna have like a very speedy rise towards the top. I think it's a process in his case, and I trust him to get wherever the talent can take him. Really, great guy, and probably not as like naturally talented as someone like Mike Strack, or I don't know who else did we have in recent years. Even like Zhuk, I think, is a much superior talent to him. But well, it's a very different way their careers have been progressing, definitely, and very different way, sort of in terms of their mindset as well, and how much they believe in their abilities, how well they know sort of what's best for them. And well, the latter is maybe even more important. Ferdiol again in the Sinner game. He was trying to go for a drop shot and missed it again. It's been a bit of a mess last few games for sure, but now he's absorbing pace pretty well from Zverev. The German now throwing his racket onto the ground. He is not pleased about that forehand cross. This has been a bit of a tale of missed opportunities for Zverev this match. A tale of leads he's kind of gotten himself into and then can't quite convert when it matters. And well, 15-30 now again, he might just miss another good opportunity. In fact, I think he will, because there's no way he's going to be getting to that Jannik forehand cross court. So 3 games all now. And as I said just a few minutes ago, I mean, Zverev loses this in straights and he will have a lot of regrets. I'm saying if Zverev loses that in straights. Did I do any partying in Kozerki? I did not. Out of the tennis events I traveled to, I only really party in Szczecin at that players' party, and also when I'm with John, because he's well, party is maybe a stretch in Porto, but we did somewhat party in Estoril. But yeah, most of my tennis friends, we don't really like meet outside the venue as well, to be honest. People are quite busy because, well, if you're working 10 hours a day at the event and then also have to do some other things. When you get back, there's really not much time to not much space to work with. And Kozerki, I had these 2 or 3 crazy days when I also had to do, well, actually, yeah, pretty much 3 crazy days when I also had a certain assignment that I had to do, and it was taking me like 4 hours maybe every day. So I had 10 hours on the court, about 7 to sleep, and then 3 or 4 hours to do that. And yeah, with that, I just had absolutely no time left for anything else. But well, I don't necessarily regret that or anything. I will get my partying done, definitely, one way or another. Hertz looks so much better than Max, which is worrying. Do we expect much from Max at the US Open? Even he drew Nava in the opening round. I probably don't. To be honest, any win will be a bonus already, I think. He's showing up there to debut in slam qualifying and mostly to gain experience. Obviously, with a good draw, he could have been there also to potentially fight for the qualifying, fight in order to qualify for the main draw. But yeah, I think with the draw that he's gotten, I think we're kind of just there for the experience by now. Is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, I'm getting really tired. In case you didn't notice, racket abuse. No, this is not racket abuse. Racket abuse is when you break it, right? Did it take Palivo going to a real tennis nation like Ireland to get his form back? I think he actually mentioned Conor Gannon in an interview in Polish. What you're going to hear on the Challenger pod, I haven't actually edited it in yet, but that's the last thing I have to do, read the episode. I mean, I've already recorded it all. I just have to edit in the content from Kozerki. But he actually mentioned Conor Gannon in one of the Polish interviews, I think. And he basically said that, well, last week I'm playing a guy who's ranked like 1,400 and he's playing insane. So he did mention Ireland, I guess. But yeah, I think it was mostly just to sort of prove an example that, well, he doesn't feel like he's playing worse this year, but he's actually not getting the results. But he feels like it's just, small margins. And at some point, if he's patient, the results will come. I don't think he said anything about Michael Agvi or Tennis Ireland. Although when I was talking to him, I actually had the thought of Michael. I had Michael Agvi on the back of my mind constantly, because Palivo was just saying that like he pretty much hasn't been like blown out this year, and that most of the losses are just like a few points here or there. And constantly at the back of my mind, I was like, should I say Michael Agvi? Should I say, how about the match against Michael Agvi? And I just wasn't sure if that's okay to do or not. Honestly, with Philippe, I think it would have been fine. He is definitely like you can kind of be a little ironic, I guess, with him. You can definitely ask him tough questions, even if these questions are like, kind of implying that, I don't know, well, you're not doing too well right now, or like, something went wrong in your season, career, whatever. He's not the Thiago Seibovic type. He can definitely take these questions. So I think it would have been fine if I said Michael Agvi. But yeah, I decided not to do it anyway. But he did not mention him. No. He did mention Conor Gannon. Anyway, 3-4 Sinner here. Ooh, Jesus. This is just such a wild forehand cross from Jannik now. This match is... I don't really know what to think about it. First set was a little crazy, sure. Jannik is struggling with something, but still fights through. He is just better in the key moments than Zverev. Right now, he's like spraying a lot, but still keeps a tight score. I mean, he's still in this set. In fact, I would even say that, he's 3-4 down, 15-30, of course. But if he gets to 4-all, he's going to be the favorite to take it, I think. He's going to be the favorite to close it out in 2, just because of all the moments we've already seen in this match where Zverev is the guy who's a little wobbly, a little tighter near the finish line, and Zverev is the guy where like you're not really certain whether he's going to deliver. Which, yeah, as Ghosty said, I mean, this isn't really something new with the German either. 30 all, and Sinner just managed to land a beautiful forehand drive volley. Definitely needs to keep that forehand of his in check, though, off the ground. He does on the next point, and it's going to be Zverev cracking first. 40-30, will this be another micro chance for Zverev? And as we know, these sort of micro chances that you don't take, very often they kind of trend against you at some point, and it's the opponent who produces a much stronger opportunity for himself, herself. For now, 4 games all, and well, some very crucial games coming up. Especially Zverev must be feeling that, well, literally just 1 or 2 mistakes and I might be out of this match. Which I will repeat myself. I mean, Zverev loses this in 2 and he will be feeling like he's messed up. He will know that this is not a match he should be losing in straights. But let's see. We can't just automatically assume that he will mess up at some point. Still gotta watch it unfold. 15 love. This would be a good game for Jannik to like ramp up the pace a little bit on return, especially, I think, to, well, it not necessarily in terms of like sheer pace. I think I was talking figuratively in terms of the pace. Just play a few decent ones at Zverev's feet, pretty deep, and kind of see if the German will maybe crack. But so far he's unable to do that. Of course, that's not something you can just decide to do against a server of this quality. It's not only going to depend on you and your actions. So 30 love up, second serve for Zverev. If he gets the point done, he will pretty much surely close out the game. Not yet, though. That's just a pretty senseless backhand miss, I think. Again, for one of the best backhands in the game, kinda messy. Just because he's not going at it with the... He's not really like, swinging at it and not going after it completely. He's gonna take the next point though, 40-15. And he would love an ace right now. Down the tee is where he usually finds them on this side. But this time he gets one out wide. 5-4, Zverev. Looked like a real gap in talent between Max and Hertz, which is worrying as I don't expect much from Hertz these days. I think Hertz is a bit of an underachiever. Interesting that you say that. I don't think it's strictly wrong. I think Max is definitely, yeah, just a player who's able to get more out of his potential, which might be pretty similar to Hertz's actually. But yeah, Hertz has great days where he makes you think, well, are you going to stabilize at the challenger level? Are you going to establish yourself finally? And then he has the other day, which was the second round. And that's when you are like, oh, yeah, so that's why. Walking like a zombie, but should probably win. Yeah, I kind of have this feeling right now that Sinner will really close this out in 2. I don't know. He's not 100%, but he's fighting okay, and I just don't know if Zverev really will step up. In fact, I have a strong suspicion he won't. It was a pity for the event. Kia and Pieczonka didn't get a run. Yeah, I don't know if it was that strong for the event. I mean, maybe coupled with all the other doubles exits, yes. But for me, I definitely did think of it as disappointing that we didn't get them going a bit deeper. Very exciting duo. 2 underrated singles prospects, one which will not really do much more in singles, I would assume. One which will have a nice window before he returns to college up until like November or December to play in the pros now, and probably he's going to get some nice results. And I think Kielan, if he focuses on the doubles, which probably is coming, he also should be pretty amazing. Wow, we've got Zverev with the first point, and this is actually the exact type of rally we would love to see from him more often. Lovely forehand winner as well in the end. I don't think there was an easy ball taken kind of from below the net. This is a great start to this game, but well, what's not amazing is that backhand cross he sends wide. I mean, Alexander Zverev is just... It's just the type of error that should not be happening to him at all. Off the wing that he's more stable with, and you can see it in the stats as well. Sinner 7 winners on the backhand, 8 unforced errors, while Zverev is at 17 unforced errors on his backhand. On his trademark, on his best shot. Yeah. I'm not surprised by that, and I feel like many times he's like not even getting his feet right on them. Which again is just probably being fairly tight. Wow. But in turn, I mean, Zverev's forehand is peaking in this game. He wins this long cross-court exchange with Sinner by just really blasting the cover of the ball. That finish was just something special. So 2 points away from the set suddenly. Can he keep stepping up? Can he keep playing points like this? Jannik Sinner says, well, I'm not going to give you the chance to, as he just finds an ace down the tee. This is his second in a row, I think. Second ace on this side. Not in a row, I mean, generally, but in a row on the deuce side. So 40-30, and he has a chance to get us to 5-all. Another big serve down the tee, has to play the put away, but he gets it in. So 5 games all. Jannik Sinner does hold, and well, right back, we've got this yo-yo situation. We've got the pressure right back on Zverev once again. They are definitely yo-yoing quite a lot now. How old do we think Nurlan is? 12? I think a certain amount of ranking points have to come from different surfaces. Should not be able to get so high in the rankings without variety, says Keen. I mean, instantly when you say this, I'm thinking of Mariano Navone, obviously. But, is he that high in the rankings? He's very high in the rankings for only having points from clay, but he's not in the top 10, the special seating system at Wimbledon was kind of one of the resolutions for that, but they abolished it because everything that's good, you have to abolish it. Like no, okay, I didn't say this. I didn't say this joke, thankfully. I mean, I would have laughed at it, but I don't know, it's not politically correct. If you have a good ear, you probably caught what I was going to say, but yeah, thankfully I didn't say it. Yeah. Eric Idle was good butts with George Harrison. I did not know that. Did Eric Idle die or something? I don't know. I heard something on Monty Python on the radio like 2 days ago. That's why I'm asking, honestly. So I think something maybe has happened with, I don't know, Monty Python or whoever from that group. It's kind of stupid. It's a stupid question, but that was my feeling that. But I don't know. Anyway, Zverev cleaning up this game, another cannon forehand. This is actually wild. These are some of the best forehands I've seen Zverev hit in my life, I think. But yeah, 6-5. Do I think Zverev has ever considered not wearing a necklace? I don't know. He never thought of that. I mean, I did think of that as like kind of, isn't it hampering him a little bit? Like, isn't it a little uncomfortable playing in it? But I mean, clearly not, according to him. So that's. I am still, as you can probably hear, fighting with my laptop fan noise issues. And well, we're going to have to handle it for at least a couple of games, as this match has already been pretty long and my laptop battery is almost out. And it only really shows up when I'm on cable. So anyway, when I won't be talking, I'll probably start muting myself or something. But for now, I'm talking. So, I mean, yeah, you guys are not in luck today. Definitely gotta watch Life of Brian from time to time. It's probably their best movie, right? I mean, my favorite out of like the whole, let's say, universe would probably be Faulty Towers, but I don't know if we can say that's out of the Monty Python universe, right? I mean, it's just John Cleese, really. So, but yeah, I think I prefer it to the Monty Python stuff as well. But Life of Brian, I think, is their best movie. I really like religious humor as well. So, or like, yeah, the type of religious humor which religious people would really not enjoy. What are my favorite unhealthy food and drink? I mean, depends on what we mean by unhealthy, but I do like fast food, most of it. I mean, I definitely do like McDonald's or like pizza or kebabs. Like, yeah, generally fast food, I tend to like all of it. So I would probably just say something like that. Like, yeah, sure. I mean, I cannot really live without eating pizza from time to time. Definitely. And when it comes to drinks, I don't even know if I have a favorite drink that's unhealthy. Around maybe like 8 years ago or something like that, I basically stopped drinking any like. Well, I drink 90% water. I mostly just drink other drinks as a chaser to alcohol. So if we want to count alcohol into that, then probably I have to say alcohol. But no, I mostly just drink water. Anyway, oh, this is getting interesting now. So when Sinner loses that first point in this game, that's nothing special yet. I mean, that's something that has been happening to him almost the entire set. Like that's not really something that he has to worry about yet. But now that he's lost the second point, and I, by the way, have a ladybird in my room, interestingly. Um, it's a bit of a weird ladybird. It has like a lot of dots. I thought they were supposed to have like 2 or 7 or something like that, that they were just 2 species. But this one is weird. I don't know if it's alive even, to be honest. It doesn't seem to be moving. Anyway, love 30. And well, this is getting tricky for Jannik now because he missed that inside out forehand. He's been really rushing things, some of these wild errors. This is also not the first time we've seen them take place, but this is the first time we've seen them take place at like a really important point. And Zverev will also get the next one. So it's 3 set points for the German now. 3 in a row, in fact. So, well, he's not going to have a better chance to take a set here. He's not going to have a better chance to get even here with Jannik. I've said it a few times during the course of this set, if we have Zverev losing this much in straights, he's going to be kicking himself. I think right now, if we're going to have him losing in straights, I don't know. He's going to have to go through therapy to even get to the US Open without like any major psychological drama. This trauma. This is just this is getting into like even stronger territory now. He's 1540 down. Sinner finds a big serve and then the +1 put away of the forehand. Another decent serve. +1 forehand will have to smash and he dumps it into the net. Zverev with his clenched fists, 7-6, 5-7. We're going to have a third set here. Well. Slightly unexpected, I guess. I don't know if I can quite say that Zverev stepped it up. I think this is more of a representation of how Jannik was playing the entire set with these wild forehand errors at the beginning of games. Usually he was able to clean it up. And I think here he was also doing pretty okay to like start cleaning it up, right? That forehand down the line. And well, the smash, I don't know, you could already see it in his preparation that he wasn't comfortable, that he was likely going to miss, to be honest. Zverev with a lot of unreturned serves in this set, over 50%, in fact, 11 out of 21. He's won a lot more points than Jannik, which I think it was showing during the set that Jannik was the one getting in trouble on serve this time for the most part, other than that one break to love, of course, for Sinner, which happened when he was already down the break. 11 forehand unforced errors from Jannik. And yeah, that's also something we've been mentioning quite a lot, that forehand was just spraying wildly from time to time. This time it's, of course, Zverev winning a lot more on first serve and second serve. And 5 aces, 0 double faults from Zverev too. So the serving quality, I feel like it would be fair to say, has risen a little bit for the German. And what else? Yeah, we're going into the third set. I think they've already played a decider in their, well, 2 deciders, I suppose, in their careers, in their head-to-head history. One of them, of course, 2 of them were taken by Alexander Zverev, one of them in their most recent meeting at the US Open. We've gained 556 subscribers in the last 28 days, really? Oh, wow. Maybe we are going to get that 10K. I actually don't know. Well, no comment on that, Bracy, in terms of what I was going to say. It was just a collocation. I don't actually think that, obviously. It was going to be a joke. But yeah, thankfully I didn't say it, as I said. If Zverev thinks that he is better than his opponent, then he wins. If he thinks that his opponent is equal or better than him, then there is a good chance he will lose. That's an interesting comment from Dave. I wonder like how often actually Alexander Zverev thinks that his opponent is better than him. Because Zverev seems like a very confident guy, but it might be just a bit of a mask, and just, yeah, maybe in reality he actually does have players he kind of has to respect. And if what you're saying is sort of, if we assume that he actually has a lot of matchups where he thinks that he's equal or better than him, then I think your analysis is very much true. Like he wins and loses based on ranking. Wasn't Ferrer like that too? I think David Ferrer is a different case, though. Was he as talented as Zverev? I don't think so. I think when he was losing to the top guys, then he was mostly losing on basically just not being able to match their ball striking. I was recently thinking about like Berdic, Ferrer, and Tsonga, and I see Ghosty is also talking about Ferrer, so I'm actually glad I started that whole conversation right now with Berdic, Ferrer, and Tsonga, because it makes it even more relevant. But I was actually thinking about them recently and thinking that like Tsonga, of course, had no backhand, almost had no return. Berdic had, well, some stiffness, let's say, probably could have been getting even more out of his serve. And Ferrer, out of these three and out of that whole era, is kind of the least special ball striker. And I don't think we can realistically compare him to Zverev now. And if he was losing to players, he couldn't. If he was losing to players, he was worse than or like equal to. I don't think that was his mindset, really. I think, in fact, his mindset was very often correct. It's just that, well, he was somewhat limited. I think he really got the most he could out of his career, really. Not everyone who is like that, right? That he's consistent in beating the lower ranked guys, but then never really beats the top players, does it because of the mindset. I think Zverev does in many matches, but someone like Ferrer or someone like who is a good example right now on the tour, Andrei Rublev, I think that's more their game than actual mindset. Or I don't know, Casper Ruud, right? That does Casper lose to Novak Djokovic or Rafael Nadal because of his mindset? I mean, somewhat, because he doesn't believe he can beat them and he's idolizing them. We've talked about this. But at the same time, I mean, would he actually beat them if he believed? Probably not as well. Maybe right now, maybe if they play right now, he would beat Rafa. Sure, that's possible. My best Jesus or Muhammad joke. No, thank you. Are you guys also covering the Rune TFO match? Apparently, yeah. John says that no, and from me, it's also definitely no. That's me and John in Story 2057. Yeah, that's after a lot of well, actually not even port wines. That's after the beers that we had in the bar. After Bogusz has taken us out for a beer every single edition of the Estoril Open. But what sort of tournament is it? What sort of tournament category is it by 2057 is my question. Is it going to be a Challenger 175 like in 2025? Is it going to be an ATP 250? Or is it going to be a Grand Slam, Well, they just make Grand Slam in Estoril. But anyway, we are back on the court. So Alexander Zverev serving first in the deciding set. What else was there in the chat? I'm trying to cover up. Michael Chang. Yeah, he got at least one slam, but then again, his career, if you think about it, like, sure, he got that one slam and it was an amazing effort, but after that, he never really got close. He got it at 17 and then didn't get close for the next 15 years. So it wasn't easy. And of course, well, needless to say, Michael Chang also existed in a different era of tennis and didn't have to face the big three for his entire effing career, which is what David Ferrer had. Zverev's return placement, some stats on it: 56% in the middle, only 13% deep in set one, 31% short. Whereas in set two, I mean, the returning is so much deeper from the German, 44% in that outer third, if you may, of the court. Basically in the second part of the area between the service box and the baseline. So yeah, this has definitely been crucial in him getting a bit more play on the Sinner serve. And Jannik, as we have already mentioned, is just kind of feeding him some of these errors. Maybe again because he's not feeling 100%, but well, despite that, he's been fighting, he's been in this match. So I think probably we can't just sort of mention that every single time we are talking about the specifics of the Sinner performance. We also have to remember that, well, we have to judge him as if he was playing healthy, because if he's playing, then, well, he's healthy enough to play, right? That's kind of all we, I think, for now. Zverev is winning this now, says John. Another set of this. What fresh hell? Wow, that's not exactly an a voice of happiness from Sean. I guess people didn't like Zverev Sinner in Cincinnati at the U.S. Open last year. Maybe they also don't like the Zverev Sinner match in Cincy. I don't think this one has been particularly exciting. I mean, I want to see what happens. In terms of like the sheer results scoreboard, I definitely have a lot of intrigue here. But have I actually been enjoying the play all that much? It's okay. I don't think it's a spectacular match, though. Yeah, I actually don't know. I said 17, but I think it was somewhere around that. How high do I think Madaras would have got to? Not much higher than where he landed. I mean, he was clearly not doing much at the challenger level. So I think that while they hit him at exactly the sort of time when he exploded, if you may, when he went big time, and that's when they obviously announced all these match fixing stuff and suspended him provisionally. I don't think they really stopped the top 100 career. I think at the challenger level, he most likely wouldn't have been a big threat. Of course, if we're talking about like challenger 50s on clay and stuff, we have Dobrik this week. That would have been a perfect event for Madaras. But yeah, I don't think he really would have been that much of a factor. Zverev kind of flying right now with that forehand down the line and then the smash. It's in the same corner where Jannik was standing, but it's powerful enough to a point where it just doesn't matter. So yeah, this is looking strong from him at the moment. I find Opelka to be one of the most unlikable players in tennis. Says Keen. I never really understood that. I mean, there was some talk on Twitter like ages ago, but I don't know. I'm just too much of a boomer. I didn't even get what these people like really wanted from him. I think they were accusing him of like reporting an account or something like that, but I don't know. I'm just too much of a boomer to even understand what that meant. Bergs and Opelka, that's an exciting match though. I might catch a bit of it after this one is done. I will still have to do some work before going to bed, editing in the Kozerki interviews into the pod and maybe some writing as well. So I might catch that Bergs Opelka match if it's still on by then. Tsonga was very exciting, yeah. I think in terms of like sheer natural talent, he had a lot more than Ferrer. That's what I was trying to say. Can Zverev smoke a pack in a day and stay in the top 10? Yeah, that's an ability that was probably restricted to David Ferrer, yes. With the what? With Rome locals? Maybe not. Underwater due to global warming by 2057. Storil is relatively close to the sea. I guess it might happen, although actually I think the levels would have to rise tremendously because yes, Estoril is next to the sea or like, yeah, pretty much next to the sea or even the ocean, but the actual venue is pretty high up. So I think in order for the sea to rise like that, yeah, it's not really possible by 2057. Maybe during my last Estoril edition in like 2100, that's a problem that I might encounter, but we'll see. Some coffee talk. I'm not going to participate in that. We'll see if... oh, you're fearing that Santillan retired. Yeah, it's not really clear what's happened to him. I think... oh yeah, I think Kiker might retire once his PRs fall off. That's kind of the impression I'm getting based on his recent calendar. And today we had Tyson Kwiatkowski retire as well, in case someone in the chat hasn't heard it yet. World number 181 a couple of years back. Then he got hit by an injury and never really came back. He's 29. He won the 2017 NCAA championship. So the same achievement that Ben Shelton had in 2022. In 2023, it was Ethan Quinn, and this year Filip Jeff Planinšek of Slovenia, which is why he didn't get a wild card for the US Open, even though it's customary, but it's only customary for American players who are the NCAA champions. Very awful rule, in my opinion. The NCAA champions should be getting in regardless of their nationality or country affiliation, but well, what can you do? Planinšek is doing fine on his own, making a final this week at the 25k in Maribor. Low 15 here Zverev was. We have a nice court side angle. I mean, like a court view angle of the next point. That's some proper ball striking from Zverev on the backhand side, though. I know I was complaining a little bit maybe earlier when he was decelerating, but here you can actually really see the technique, and well, these two are class. He gets the point due to a Sinner error, but still. Will Evans's ranking really drop massively after the US Open? I mean, it's already dropped. I mean, it's already at 180. Is he defending much at the US Open? I don't think so. I think his ranking has already dropped to a point where, like, yeah, he doesn't have much anymore, right? Or actually, no. What was last year the year when he lost to Carlos Alcaraz, and that was like this very entertaining display of shot making, where they were both enjoying themselves so much. Maybe it was, right? But anyway, yeah, he's already dropped a ton. About 180 in the rankings right now. I think Dan's career might be over. Also, I'm kind of wondering how he's going to react to this and what sort of scheduling we're going to see from him in the next weeks. That's kind of the part that intrigues me. 30-old Zverev finds a clutch serve out wide and goes 40-30 up on Sinner here. It does feel like he has the edge right now, physically, mentally, but we'll find out. And also, of course, that mental edge can change relatively quickly if there's going to be a tight moment. Tiafoe against Sinner, says Sean, and he remembers some friction between them and way back. I would love to see that. I don't actually remember, but it's possible. Jannik didn't like when Big Foe was playing up to the crowd. Oh, you're right. Yeah, you are right. I don't remember what the tournament was, but I do remember it happening now that you mention it. Zverev is not as pleased as me right now, as I'm pleased that I actually remember what you were talking about, Sean. Zverev, after missing that shot, isn't quite cool with himself. And well, for the all, the return is going to be out from Sinner. Just trying to get that third game on the board, Zverev. It's quite key. We've had that last set where they almost managed to get to the tiebreak. One break could end it all here, especially in the decider. And with Zverev serving first, so vital for him to keep these games up and keep these games coming, and yeah, just apply more pressure on an opponent who kind of faltered under it at the end of the second set. And another game point for Zverev. He gets a high return to the forehand corner from Sinner and messes up his stroke completely. Yeah, that's the nasty side of the Zverev forehand. That's when he gets pretty tough to watch sometimes. Wasn't there a beefy Brit that did well at Wimbledon? You're talking about Marcus Willis. And of course, in 2016, he managed to qualify for Wimbledon. Actually, he first won a pre-qualifying tournament. He was going to end his career, but his girlfriend, who was a dentist, convinced him to keep playing. And he won a pre-qualifying event to get into Wimbledon qualifying. Then he qualified, by the way, beating Yuichi Sugita, Andrei Rublev, and Daniil Medvedev. So surviving a really crazy run of opponents in that Wimbledon qualifying campaign, then defeated Ricardas Berankis and lost to Roger Federer in the second round in a match where, well, suddenly the center court at Wimbledon wasn't actually loving Roger Federer. It was they were all fans of Marcus Willis. So yeah, that was a pretty wild story, and definitely one that is still mentioned, especially now that Marcus Willis is basically playing the best tennis of his career in doubles. He has kind of returned to pro tennis after another break, not playing singles anymore, but he is playing doubles and doing very, very well on the challenger circuit, but hopefully soon also in main tour events. And he's also a legend for another thing. Back in the day, in an American challenger, where during a changeover, he was eating a Mars bar or whatever the candy bar was, and also drinking an RV Coke. And well, his figure was kind of, let's say, similar to that sort of diet. I mean, you could see that he might be, let's say, having too much sugar in his diet a little bit. Anyway, yeah, Dan Evans, I don't really know what's gonna happen. I mean, this is first and foremost, like with Dan Evans, we're just gonna be talking about what does he actually commit to? Like, what is going to be his plan? Like, does he actually show up at challengers after the US Open, or does he not have the ability to grind? I don't know. And we'll see. But I think for now, everything depends on him. If he is willing to fight, maybe he still comes back, but it's a long way back. And not everyone at his stage of his career has the will to do it. And we'll see if Dan has it. I mean, just a couple of months ago, you and Jack were saying that he has like 2 500s left in him or something like that. But yeah, I'm not even going to mention that again. Keen's saying in Polish that if he retires, it will be one of the biggest like wastes of talent in tennis history. I think that's about Akira Santillan, not about Dan Evans, because that's probably what Keen was talking about. But I don't know. Dan Evans, I mean, he's got a fine career. A bit of a weird one with the ban for cocaine, and also I think some sort of an injury that also took him out for a season, if I remember correctly. But it wasn't poor. I think he, getting an ATP 500, staying at the top for a few years, being a nasty opponent, and also a memorable player, I think, in many ways, having a unique play style, having a lot of the kind of vintage tactics that we don't really see on the court anymore, beating Djokovic in Monte Carlo, the world number one. Yeah, I think he's done fine. Someone who is doing fine in the Sinner service game now at 1-2 is Zverev. He wins the point mostly thanks to the depth on the backhand here. Well, in many ways, maybe it's all about keeping that ball in play, but it needs to be like here. It can't just be like literally giving the ball to Sinner and asking, what are you going to do? It has to be using that depth, that power that he has. And in this game, Zverev is doing it expertly so far. Second serve for him to look at. The return is okay. He's finding some pretty good backhands. Who will out-rally the other? It's probably going to be Zverev based on how the point is looking, but Sinner holds on, actually. He gets a bit more height on that last shot of the defense, and it trips up Zverev. It lands on the baseline. But there was a moment when Zverev created an opening for himself, really opened up the court with the forehand cross court, and then you could see how normally another player would take it forehand line, like no hesitation. Like that would be the shot, that would be a winning shot if you make it. But Zverev kind of did hesitate. And well, didn't end well for him. But he has another second serve to look at 30-all. Sinner barely gets it in, but he does and finds the forehand winner. And that's another example of a return that Zverev cannot be playing this passively. He's giving himself so much time to find the return by moving backwards. It's an important point. It's another second serve for Sinner. But yeah, he's just not willing to take that risk. He rolls the ball in play, and it was not enough. So can Sinner get the 2-all? Let's see. Oh, Snickers. Yeah, Snickers. Yeah, he's pretty funny. He's a pretty funny interview. Marcus Willis. Yeah, for sure. I have not had the chance, but if I see him at a tennis event, I will definitely try. I mean, you can probably compete with that, Ghosty, because you can just throw whatever you want to tell me in Polish into Google Translate, which is how Keen got his. I mean, I don't know if it's if I'm going to be sharing some sort of a mystery or like some sort of a secret with you, but Keen does not speak Polish. He just put it into the translator. In the near future, as in like next 5 minutes, I should be able to eliminate my the noises you can hear in the background, and I should be able to get back to the position from which I started watching the stream and the match. Well, it is what it is. We're dealing somehow. I will actually try to clean up my fan tomorrow, but I don't know if it will work because well, it's only doing this on battery on cable. It's not doing this on battery, or at least it stops after a second after I unplug it, which kind of indicates that it's a different issue. But anyway, who cares? Not the most important thing right now. Alexander Zverev serving at 2 games all. Still haven't got into the bottom of the chat messages, but I will soon. It will be a bit easier for me as well if I'm closer to the computer, but that is coming as well. Anyway, pretty deep second serve from Zverev. It's kind of unclear how Sinner is supposed to create these openings of the ground right now, but the net court allows him to, and he's now spreading the court very well to eventually get Zverev to miss. He says sorry, but is that for the net court that Zverev hit? I mean, I don't think Jannik has anything to say sorry for in this rally. Oh, but yeah. For now, I think we should be fine for until the end of the match. All right, Alexander Zverev serving again, spreading the court with the forehand now, but again, that forehand line is not quite close to it. I mean, it's very safe in the placement, but thankfully for him, he's hitting the forehand cross today like he rarely is. So he is definitely covering up for that. By the way, Ghost, you were mentioning Bergs Opelka, so I guess that means that in Winston-Salem they also must have returned to action, because earlier when we had the rain delay in Cincinnati, it was also raining in Winston-Salem. So let me sort of make up with the results there. Yeah, Daniel and Fucovic still on. Okay, and it seems like they only just returned. Whereas I guess Botic and Kazo. Oh no, they're still interrupted, Botic and Kazo. Okay, so I guess they just returned to play on all the courts, and Berg Sopelka was just on a different one to the other 2 matches that we had earlier. But yeah, as I said earlier, Bergs Opelka is probably what I'm gonna watch after Zverev Sinner. 40-15 for the German. Said it many times, even though the stats don't back it up. I really like that position of serving first in the decider, especially after what happened maybe at the end of the second set, where Jannik doesn't really, kind of crumbles under pressure at 5-6. We've got 40-15 Zverev here, and he double faults. As far as I remember, he did not hit a single one in the second set, and in fact, we have confirmation on the screen right now. Sinner has only hit 1 in the entire match. Zverev 4 in the opening set. At least one of them was an important point. But now it's Jannik dictating, and once again, the forehand cross from Zverev, and he goes backhand line right after it. Honestly, both shots pretty spectacular, but I have to say he's really eating these forehands cross court today. And this time, that great shot banner that we have, like that's yeah, this time it's correct. It's not like when Zverev had that frame or whatever it was. Let's just say Zverev might not be the only player on tour checking his blood sugar after changeover during changeovers. Yeah, I think Dan Evans, unlike some players said, some players, unlike some people said, and even some people on the Talking Tennis team, like Dan Evans to me kinda knew that his singles career is in shambles, and he just wanted a shot at a medal at the Olympics, which he almost got. And well, that's maybe also part of why I'm really questioning right now, sort of what his attitude is going to be. I think until we get the entry lists of challengers after the US Open, after Davis Cup as well, we're not really going to know what sort of idea Dan Evans has for the rest of his career. Getting banned for cocaine is cool. It's very, very cool. Say it to Omar Jasika as well. I fear we have seen the best of Bellier, says Keen. I don't know if I fear it. I mean, he is quite stiff as a servant volleyer. I mean, he's a servant volleyer who doesn't really volley all that well. But I did enjoy his game on the carpet courts in Ismaning, for sure, last year, watching him live. But I do think we might have seen the best of him, yes. Let me just say this. He's not much better than Mats Rosenkrantz, if he is even better than Mats Rosenkrantz. And you know where Rosenkrantz is ranked. Yeah, I guess he was Crystal Fanta guy? Yeah, I don't like it at all. But I don't like citrusy flavors in general. So maybe that's why. Like grapefruit, orange, nah, not for me. Was Kozerki good for the media? Yes and no. I mean, it's good because no one cares about you, and like you can walk anywhere, and basically you can talk to the players like very freely. Like you have a lot of access points, if you may. But at the same time, the media room, which this year was just like free seats, and last year it was water, coffee, some like snacks and everything. Like this year there was nothing, and it was even closed for the first 3 days. I had to do some work, and I was doing it like, let's say, just trying to find any spot available around the venue. And also, from Tuesday onwards, we couldn't get onto the VIP stand, which is why I think I'm now suffering from a heat stroke. Um, Basically, yeah, I think I really overheated my body spending 10 hours there every day. But otherwise, it was fine. So, yeah, the answer is yes and no. It was funny because the tournament director, and she's the tournament director, this year was her first, and she actually thought I was from another country because she starts talking to me in English, and I'm like, no, no, you can say it in Polish. I said it in Polish already, and she's like, oh, because I saw you talking to Kopriva, and I look at her and I'm like, wait, so I was supposed to talk to Kopriva in Polish? And well, she didn't have a response to that. I guess she wasn't expecting maybe that any Polish journalist would want to talk to Fit Kopriva. Maybe she's right. Anyway, Jannik Sinner is gonna get that first point at 3-all. Zverev is disappointed about it, but there's nothing you can do here. That's a lovely combination from Sinner. Using that slice well to kind of get Zverev off balance. Once again, following up in the same direction with a forehand, and then just The kill shot is also class. We've got an epic rally banner this time, which, yeah, sure, kind of was. Just from one person, I think, but still, epic rally is probably fair. 15 all, though, with a big serve. That's funny, Ghosty. I love that. I think Richard Gasquet also had an issue with cocaine, right? But then they accepted his explanation that he kissed a girl in a bar, and she, well, because like the amount that they found in his blood was like literally traces, and they accepted his explanation that that girl was under the influence of cocaine. Again, Zverev with the forehand, and this time line as well. I mentioned a few times that like when he had these openings to go forehand line, he was not really keeping that direction too well. It was all very middle. It was like very centric anyway, but not this time, not at all. In fact, 92 miles per hour as well. He's had some issues balancing out his play today for sure. But yeah, I mean, the last 20, 30 minutes, we've seen him play some of the more courageous stuff. Jannik up in this next point, but he is going to mess up on his own forehand line. 40-15 for Zverev, as we are already halfway into the third set tiebreak. Would be a fair way to decide the match, I think. At the same time, it would be a way that's, yeah, just keeps dragging this over the next 25 minutes. And that's okay, but also wouldn't mind an earlier finish. I mean, clearly. And I think that, yeah, doing Rune TFO, if someone was gonna try to pull it off after this one, yeah, that's not easy. Of course, the rain delays, they contributed to this. Today there was a lot of them. They weren't long, but a lot of like stop start action in Cincinnati. Wow, Mazarui will be the best United fullback since ever. Yeah, I guess fullbacks, they haven't had too many good ones. But that's maybe not that controversial indeed. Initially I was like, ooh, but well, maybe that's okay. Hingis Sanya Mirza, yeah, definitely one of my favorites, and Hingis with Lander Paes as well, yeah. When I watched Jessica against Palivo, it was one of the worst performances from a pro player I think I've seen. When did you tune in? Like in the third set or something like that? Because the first set was fine. The second set for a while as well. I think that when Philippe started playing more offensively from 2-5 down in the first set, it was already clear that the match is more on his racket. And well, Jessica, you know what his playstyle is. I mean, he literally just rolls the ball into the opponent's corners with the lefty topspin, right? So, well, and is good physically. But at the end, of course, he was also just mentally just completely lost it. He actually ended the second set on point penalty and the third set on game penalty. So Palivo never had to even like convert or even try to convert a set point. He just wasn't even allowed. I mean, he didn't need to. Jessica just did it all for him. 3-4 Sinner to serve. Two hours and 39 minutes already. As I mentioned, the first set was probably a bit shorter, if not for some of the rain delays that we had while the players stayed on the court. But I don't know, maybe just a little bit. I think that's return is out from Zverev. Yeah. So basically, we're gonna be 2/3 into the third set tiebreak already. So maybe at that stage, I can actually accept it too. This is, of course, just the first semifinal of the ATP Cincinnati Open. Second is going to be right after this one between Frances Tiafoe and Holger Rune. Sinner with the smarter backhand line here, just making sure that he gets it over the net, focusing on the precision, not on the power, making the stroke more compact. And he gets to 4 games all, sorry. Do I ice plunge? I don't even know what that is, to be honest. I would think so keen as well about the best seating and stuff, but well, that's another strategy to like not care about you at all, and sometimes that's fine. But given the heat that we had in Kozerki this week, I really think that I could have been let onto the VIP stand at least most days. I understand that on the final when it was pretty much full, sure, I'm okay with that. I mean, it's 2 matches, right? But yeah, there were some days when I was just like dying out there, despite the hat, despite the sunscreen. Doubles is much more complicated tactically compared to singles. Very interesting stuff. Mm, yeah, it is, and it also isn't, right? There's so many like very similar patterns in which the points end. But of course, yeah, just the signaling and sort of where I go, where you go. Yeah, it's different, but I also can kind of find ways in which it's less complicated than singles, and it could be a little frustrating in like how monotonous the patterns of play are in doubles sometimes. It definitely takes some of my enjoyment away. But I try to watch it at the slams, especially. I try to watch it at the events that I'm at. Um, but yeah, just like on a daily basis, I don't really watch that much doubles, to be honest. Just like with anything else, I mean, there's just not enough hours in the day, honestly. And seems like this will also be a quick game for Zverev. I don't feel like we've talked about tennis all that much in this game. I mean, this set as a whole, but I mean, there also hasn't been that much to talk about. Well, we can definitely mention this forehand winner from Jannik, which is just insane. He's out of position here, losing his balance a bit, I guess. Yeah, but he still finds an absolute missile. If it was less than 40 love up, if he was closer in this game, Zverev would probably be like, "What?" I mean, so lucky or whatever. But nah, I mean, it was 40 love up, so he still felt pretty comfortable that he was going to take that game. And after the break, apparently, it's going to be new balls. So I guess our chances of getting to 6-all is going to be pretty fine. Does Lewandowski have a likable character? I feel like people generally tend to like him. Yes. Personally, I mean, he's had some issues recently. I think his image has worsened a little bit. But as a whole, yes, he is kind of held as as an example of hard work, professionalism, and yeah, just making sure that you give your absolute best every single day. However, recently there were some, let's say, issues around the national team that people kind of were expecting his impact. Like, people were expecting his position on, and like, we're just thinking he might actually be able to change something. And it seems like in these situations he has kind of failed. Like, he's just not built for that, really. And he's not a natural born leader as well, even though very much being that leader as well in the national team, obviously, given his stature compared to the other players. But yeah, I would say he's likable. Who is the most famous Pole that is from your area of Poland? Probably would have to say Nicolaus Copernicus. He was born in the city where I went to junior high and high school, which is around 45 kilometers from where I was born. From my city itself, it would be tough to find someone that would actually, whose name would actually tell you anything. There's a Nobel laureate in physics, but he did it for Germany, and yeah, I mean, we don't know every single Nobel Prize laureate. So laureates. So yeah, I don't think I'll even mention his name. But yeah, Copernicus is probably a fine answer for that. Unless I'm forgetting about someone, but yeah, I think that's fair. Probably fair to say that, since, well, Copernicus is like one of the most famous popes in general, alongside like Chopin, Curie, Maria Curie, or the Pope, I suppose, or Lewandowski. Anyway, 15 all as Jannik Sinner finds an ace out wide. This was already getting, let's say this is potentially the last game of the match, right? Love 30, that's already scary. So vital, and this is just as vital. He's 11th ace. 15 for Zverev, but Sinner has found two back-to-back here from Love 15 at 4-5, so in a game that could potentially end the match. He is doing a lot better, I have to say, this set rather than in set 2, in terms of, yeah, just holding his serve, serving great, killing the ball that he gets sort of in the mid-court area. So everything we have seen so far in set 3 is leading us towards a tiebreak. Will we actually get it? We will find out momentarily, within the next 10 minutes. 5 games all. Again, not much that Zverev can do on return here. I think he only put one in, maybe, or max 2. This set has been a grind, says Dave. Sure. And Zverev matches are such a god slog, says Ghosty. As you can hear, I am yawning hard. Honestly, I would probably be enjoying this match a bit more if it wasn't 2:30 a.m. Since it is 2:30 a.m., I am a little like, yeah, just get this over with, guys. But well, for now, that's not what I can expect from them. How popular is Iga compared to Lewandowski? I think right now they're similarly popular. I mean, football is definitely the biggest sport in Poland. It's like the national team is bigger than anything else. Like, that every single person in the country knows something about the national team and kind of is interested in its highs and lows. But I think by now pretty much everyone knows who Iga Świątek is. You would really have to be living under a rock in order not to know who Iga Świątek is in Poland. Yeah, I think when it comes to like their recognition, like as people, she's probably just as famous as Robert right now. Even though their respective sports, they don't carry the same popularity. 30-15 Zverev. That was a deep return from Jannik, causing some issues, getting that backhand to break down. This set has not been a grind in terms of the rallying and in terms of the longer points that we're getting because, well, we're not getting them. But it's definitely been a grind in terms of just like slowly, or, well, let's say slowly but surely leading us towards that tiebreak. We're in the final steps right now. Let's see if that actually happens. Of course, Zverev isn't going to go down the line from that spot, but I can't actually blame him. It would have been a, let's say, 20% shot or something like that. I would still go for it probably. When I get a nice opportunity to go down the line, I'm just like, yeah, I have to. Which ends horribly most times, especially on the backhand side. But Alexander Zverev is smarter, and what Ghosty said earlier about like trying to play optimally, let's say. He did that here, actually got the reward, and ooh, Jannik with some spectacular defense gets us to 40-30. Zverev this time trying to find the forehand line. But overcooking it a little. And well, 40-30 now. This is the point where you have to be cautious already and just gonna make sure that you're out of this, that the ball is in Sinner's court in the next game. 40-30, big-ish serve. Did the return go in? I think it has. Yes, I think it did. Zverev looking at the mark on the hard surface. But of course, the calls are the calls from the electronic line calling system. You cannot change them. So 40 all. Will this get more tricky for the German? Sinner now kind of really dedicated to making all of these balls and just staying in the point, but in the end, he's not able to absorb another pretty biggish blow from Zverev. And once again, the German has that shot to get us to 6-5. Once again, put himself in a good position to potentially win the match. I said a few minutes ago that we're probably going to know within the next 10 minutes whether this is going to be a third set tiebreak or not. And maybe I was kind of jinxing it because, yeah, it might be more than 10 minutes if they keep playing at this pace. And, well, we'll actually be getting some long deuce games in. And yes, this is just way too easy from Zverev. Again, that forehand approach. Yeah, this time just kind of leaving the ball right with Sinner right in his strike zone. Jannik barely had to move to it. Yeah, he makes like 3 steps, but it's already controlled. He has a lot of time on it. Blast the backhand line. And we're back to deuce. This is a bit of a tight forehand approach shot from Zverev. The placement was okay. It just was really high and right where Sinner wanted it. And now this might get tricky, as the next point is also them rallying. But Sinner makes a forehand error that should not have happened. It was after yet another one of these backhands cross-court from Zverev where he decelerated, and yeah, it just wasn't good enough. I don't know if Sinner would have won the point if he just stays within the lines here, but that was just a lousy error given where we are. Zverev about to serve. Game point again. Gets a nice angle on the forehand. Oh, wow. Jannik actually got an opportunity to blast it backhand down the line, but he doesn't make it. So 6-5, finally. Zverev, Sinner signaling something to his team. I'm not really sure what that is, but it seemed to be something about his, whatever the physical discomfort he's had. But it's definitely not hampering him as much as it was during the first set, which makes it even more vital that he actually won the first set. But yeah, we're going to be back after the changeover with Jannik Sinner serving to stay in the match again. And there's still one more match to come. Tennis is a crazy sport. That match I will definitely not be able to see. And yeah, after the changeover, Zverev to try to get that break. Maybe he will be more aggressive on return, but I doubt it, to be honest. Compare Alcaraz Djokovic a few years ago to this match. Are you talking about Cincinnati, the final last year? I guess you are. Yeah, it's 7:30 p.m. and I'm like Tiaforun already, says Dave. What is my best shot in table tennis? My trademark is back in line. Personally, I think that my forehand, like inside out, is inside in is just as good. But my coaches and my opponents always say that it's the backhand line that is kind of, what they can't read and what is surprising. Because, as you say in the next comment, Keen, most people are way more comfortable to hitting a good shot cross court, and it's just scientific, right? I mean, it's just physics. I mean, if you go down the line, you have way less room to maneuver. Like, you literally have just that straight line, and when you go cross court, the ball travels for a longer time. The ball travels in the air longer, so it's easier to make that shot. It's way easier to hit cross court than down the line or down the middle in table tennis as well. It's the same in tennis, it's the same in table tennis. So that's why, yeah, like, let's say the shot I'm known for, I'm not saying I'm known among the table tennis community or whatever, but among my training group, among my common opponents, people who have played with me a lot, definitely the backhand down the line is what I will be known for. Even though I believe it's such a low margin shot, and I could definitely be hitting it a bit better. A bit more accurate, just I would like to be a bit more accurate on it, but it is what it is. I've had better days with it. Anyway, let's see. Looks like it will be a tiebreak, and it will be. Jannik Sinner finding the ace out wide. So after almost 3 hours of play, 2:59, we haven't got that shot yet. Where the any TV operators, any camera guys, they really love it, right? when there's 2:59 on the clock and it turns to 3. Will we get that? Doesn't seem like it. And by the way, entering the third set tiebreak, Sinner has won 117 points. Zverev has also won 117 points. So this is a good representation of how close this match has been. And yeah, let's go. 3 hours on the clock now. Let's enter the tiebreak. The first one was really close. And the second one starts with a +1 forehand winner from Alexander Zverev. I think Sinner was serving first in the opening set tiebreak, and he got broken at the very end, at the very start of it. But then Zverev gave it right back. There was that 4-2 lead for Sinner. Zverev is back into the back into the tiebreak, and I think then the next mini break we got right before Sinner converted his third set point. But yeah, it was entertaining, the first set tiebreak. So hopefully this one is gonna follow suit. Inside out forehand winner from Sinner, though. That's lovely. I think Jannik has done a much better job just staying within the lines in the tiebreak in the third set, hitting with better margin again. And this point also kind of shows it. He's just so steady at the moment. Manages to get that pass at Zverev to bring him in, but kind of give him a pretty uncomfortable volleying spot. And it's going to be 2-1 up for Sinner. Of course, Zverev to serve next, but the slight advantage is with Jannik at the moment, especially as we're about to witness the second serve of Alexander Zverev, which can be anything from literally amazing to ugly. This one is pretty good, actually, but Zverev decides to follow it up to the net. I cannot believe my eyes. Zverev serve and volleys after the second set. This actually, after the second serve, this actually reminds me of some of the plays that he was executing at the beginning of the season at the United Cup, when he was just like the entire set, he would never go to the net. And then in the tiebreak, he would suddenly just net approach time and time again. But anyway, not what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, second serve and volley, he barely gets it, but the drop volley is really good. And he gets that perfect timing to really swoop in and take that Jannik response, just swat it away. And he misses it. I think he framed it based on the replay. This is brutal. This is a brutal way to get the mini break advantage to Sinner. Well, but for now, 3-2 Sinner. Just one mini break as Jannik makes that backhand error. But yeah, this match is grind for sure. Yeah, I'm sure Sinner is already calling to the Murray doctors for a metal. I don't even know which part of the body he could make metal. Maybe the legs, right? He has such like thin legs. Maybe that's what he could metalize. Maybe you could call the doctor of Wolverine, right? Because he had that adamantium skeleton. Like I think that's something that Jannik could use. Unless he just wants to go for the hip, right? I mean, that I guess makes the most sense. I was trying to find a less boring answer, but yeah, sure. He could go to the same doctor that Bob Bryan and Andy Murray did go to, of course. 4-2 Sinner now. This is a crucial point, and he handles it in the best way possible. Serve out wide, forehand down the line. And yeah, I think the control on that forehand in the third set has been pretty awesome. Wow. But Zverev cleans the line with the backhand cross. We've seen some amazing shots from that corner from him the entire match. And this one is just one of the best in such a key moment. But the only question is it not a bit late? Are you kidding me? Zverev is that is also Zverev's reaction. That is an insane forehand return from Sinner. That is a phenomenal shot to set up 3 match points. It just doesn't get better than this, you know? It's just impossible to do better. Zverev cannot believe it, and I can't blame him. I mean, this is just unplayable. Zverev found the line, and so did Sinner. Brilliant stuff. That's a good return from Zverev, though. He might extend this match. I think Jannik's forehand down the line misses this time. So 2 more match points, only 1 more on his serve. Once again, he goes forehand line, but he doesn't really have a clear cut for himself. But eventually he will make it. Over 3 hours, he defeats Alexander Zverev 7-6, 5-7, 7-6. And well, what a win. I mean, he was looking in discomfort for quite a large chunk of his match, I would say. Um, but in the end, he manages to keep fighting, which was definitely impressive from him, I think, considering how he was feeling, how he was walking, even. And well, by the third set, he really cleaned up all these forehand errors that he was putting in the second set. And well, most importantly, in the key moments, in the tie breaks, he was just a tiny bit better than Zverev, right? And I think that's kind of the key to the day. And what can you say? I mean, Jannik Sinner makes another final. This is his first Cincinnati final. He's had a phenomenal season. He can extend his lead over Alcaraz and Djokovic and Zverev in the ATP rankings. He can extend his lead over Carlos Alcaraz in the ATP race. He's definitely, of course, heading to the US Open as the number 1 seed. And well, just one more match tomorrow until he just will want to get some rest after Cincinnati for sure, given that right hip discomfort slash problem, whatever you want to call it. But well, tomorrow he will play Frances Tiafoe or Holger Rune. I could stay with you a little bit longer here, definitely, but I am very tired. I will only say though that well, I think especially impressive was how Jannik stole that first set from the jaws of defeat. Given how he was feeling at the time, the first set was probably the biggest, sort of the moment when his physical issues were showing up the most, and yet he still prevailed in it, which ends up being very crucial. Zverev, as usual, struggled to balance his weapons and his percentage play, if you may, the safe hitting, as we were calling it with Ghosty and you guys, the other guys in the chat. Sinner is much tougher than I thought, says Dave, who I think called it that Jannik was probably going to retire at some point this match. And indeed, he not only didn't retire, he really gave a very impressive effort in terms of staying in this match and then, keeping the fight despite the potential problems. Thank you, Dave, as well. Thank you, Ghosty. Thanks to everyone who was in the chat. This was a longer stream than I expected, but of course, I had fun watching this with you guys. I wish it wasn't ending at 3 a.m. with me still having quite a lot of work to do, but it is what it is. It's tennis, right? We can never really expect anything. We can never really predict much. But we'll see. Jannik Sinner definitely will still be carrying some question marks going into the US Open with the right hip, with the humidity. But for now, what we know is that he's in the Cincinnati final and that he's an amazing fighter. And he managed to prevail over Alexander Zverev today. Let's see what he can do against Frances Tiafoe or Holger Rune. This match, the second semifinal. Thank you, Jane, as well for the donation. Ironman effort. I mean, honestly, I don't think it was that amazing, but thank you guys, and thank you Swarna as well. What I was going to say is that Frances Tiafoe, Holger Rune, we will not be covering on the channel as well. John is asleep, I think, by now, and I am definitely going to, at least chill out for the next hour or so before going to sleep. So, and Ghosty as well. Thank you as well. Jesus, I'm struggling to produce sentences. But let's keep fighting. Let's keep talking tennis, and let's have that amazing attitude like Jannik Sinner today in our lives as well. Let's head towards our goals and use our fighting spirits to bring us closer to them. Thank you, guys. Thank you to everyone watching, and I'll see you guys some other time. Of course, tune in to Talking Tennis tomorrow. We're definitely going to have some content on the finals. I'm not sure yet if I will be on it. Probably not. But, I definitely won't be because it's the US Open qualifying as well. But someone probably will, either on the women's or on the men's final. So, keep your eyes peeled. And I'll see you guys soon. Bye.